I am the expression of perfect health, perfect strength, and perfect action. This is not a hope, not a wish, not a distant dream. This is the divine truth of my being, established before the foundation of the world. Every cell in my body knows this truth. Every atom vibrates with this knowing. I stand now in the full recognition that God's perfect life flows through me as me, and there is no power in heaven or on earth that can obstruct this divine current of vitality and wholeness. The Father within me now does the work. I do not heal myself through struggle or strain. I do not manufacture health through anxiety or effort. I simply open the door of my consciousness and let the divine architect restore the temple. My body is the temple of the living God, and that temple knows only perfection. Disease is a trespasser, an intruder that has no right to remain in this sacred space. I now evict every false condition with the authority that is mine as a child of the Most High. I speak the word, and it is done. I declare the truth, and the lie dissolves like mist before the morning sun. There is no disease in the mind of God. There is no weakness in divine intelligence. There is no limitation in infinite life. And because I am made in the image and likeness of this perfection, these qualities are the very substance of my being. I am not trying to become healthy. I am claiming the health that already exists in the invisible realm, waiting only for my recognition and acceptance. Jesus Christ said, "It is done unto you as you believe." And I believe in perfect health. I believe in divine restoration. I believe that right now, in this very moment, the healing work is complete in the spiritual realm, and my body temple is simply catching up with what is already established in truth. Every organ functions perfectly. Every system operates in divine harmony. My heart beats with the rhythm of eternal life. My blood carries pure vitality to every cell. My lungs breathe in the breath of God, that same breath that was breathed into Adam, making him a living soul. My digestive system transforms nourishment into energy with perfect efficiency. My nervous system transmits messages of peace and well-being throughout my entire being. My bones are strong, my muscles are supple, my skin radiates health and youth. There is not one cell, not one fiber, not one molecule of my body that is outside the perfect care and governance of divine intelligence. I reject completely the tyranny of negative diagnosis. I refuse to bow down to the idol of statistics and probabilities. I will not worship at the altar of fear and limitation. My faith is not in symptoms. My faith is in the eternal truth that God's life is my life, and that life knows no decay, no deterioration, no disease. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that we must be unhypnotized from the race consciousness of illness and aging, and I now break every hypnotic suggestion that has been placed upon my mind by family history, by medical pronouncements, by the collective belief in sickness and death. I am free. I am awake. I see clearly now that perfect health is the natural state of divine creation. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want for health. He makes me to lie down in green pastures of vitality. He restores my soul, my body, my strength. Yea, though I have walked through the valley of the shadow of illness, I fear no evil, for the healing presence is with me. The rod and staff of divine truth comfort me and guide me back to wholeness. A table of nourishment and restoration is prepared before me in the presence of every fear and doubt. My cup of well-being runs over. Surely goodness and vitality shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of perfect health forever. I give thanks now for the healing that is taking place. I give thanks for every sign and symptom of improvement. I give thanks for the divine energy that surges through my body even now, repairing, renewing, restoring. I give thanks that my word does not return void, but accomplishes the purpose for which it is sent. I have sent forth the word of perfect health, and that word is now made flesh in my body temple. It is done. It is finished. I rest in this knowing with perfect peace and perfect trust, and so it is. I now claim my divine inheritance of perfect strength. Strength is not something I must earn or acquire. It is my birthright as a spiritual being. The same power that holds the planets in their orbits, that causes the sun to rise each morning, that commands the tides and seasons, this very power is the substance of my being. I am not weak. I am not frail. I am not at the mercy of circumstances or conditions. I am strong with the strength of the Almighty, and this strength cannot be diminished by time, by challenge, or by any appearance of limitation. My strength is not physical alone, it is spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical all at once. Divine strength permeates every level of my being. My spirit is strong with unwavering faith. My mind is strong with clear thinking and peaceful thoughts. My emotions are strong with joy and confidence. My body is strong with vitality and endurance. I do not compartmentalize my strength. It is whole. It is complete. It is operating on all levels simultaneously, because it flows from the one infinite source that knows no division or weakness. Florence Scovel Shinn declared that every man is a golden link in the chain of my good. And I now declare that every cell is a golden link in the chain of my strength. Each cell is connected to the infinite power supply. Each muscle fiber draws from the bottomless reservoir of divine energy. Each bone is fortified with the substance of eternal life. My body does not manufacture strength, it channels strength. It is a conduit for the inexhaustible vitality of God, and that vitality flows through me now in torrents of healing power. I am never tired in the presence of divine work. When I am aligned with my true purpose, fatigue dissolves and supernatural energy takes its place. Jesus walked miles each day, teaching, healing, serving, and never once complained of exhaustion when doing the Father's work. This same Christ energy dwells in me. When I move in harmony with divine will, I tap into a source of strength that the world knows nothing about. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. I am waiting upon the Lord right now, and my strength is being renewed in this very moment. I cast out every belief in aging as decline. I reject the notion that I must grow weaker with passing years. The physical body may age, but the life force within me is eternal and unchanging. Moses was strong. At 120 years, his eye was not dim, his natural force was not abated. Caleb at 85 said, I am as strong this day as I was in the day that Moses sent me. As my strength was then, even so is my strength now. These biblical examples are not anomalies. They are demonstrations of what is possible when we align with divine truth rather than race consciousness. My strength increases day by day. I am being renewed from within. The inner fountain of youth is now activated in every cell. I drink deeply from the well of life that never runs dry. New energy courses through my veins. New vigor animates my movements. I move with grace and power. I stand tall and confident. I walk with the stride of one who knows their divine authority. My posture reflects my inner certainty. My gait demonstrates my unwavering faith. I am strong because God is strong, and God's strength is my strength. I speak strength into my bones. They are dense. They are solid. They are unbreakable. I speak strength into my muscles. They are toned. They are resilient. They are powerful. I speak strength into my immune system. It defends me perfectly against every invader. I speak strength into my heart. It beats with steady, powerful rhythm. I speak strength into my back, my legs, my arms, my core. Every part of my body responds to my word, because my word is infused with divine authority. My word is my wand, and I now wave that wand over my entire physical being, commanding perfect strength to manifest in every system, every organ, every cell. Thank you, Divine Presence, for this supernatural strength. Thank you that I am fortified, energized, and empowered right now. And so it is. I now align myself with perfect action. Every step I take is guided by divine intelligence. Every decision I make is illuminated by infinite wisdom. Every movement of my life flows in harmony with the great universal plan. I do not stumble, I do not hesitate, I do not miss my good. Perfect right action is taking place in my life right now, and I am being led by an infallible guide to my highest good. There are no mistakes in divine mind, and because divine mind thinks through me, speaks through me, and acts through me, I am incapable of making a wrong move when I surrender to this guidance. Florence Scovel Shinn taught us that divine design is the pattern already established for each life, and my only work is to allow this design to unfold. I do not force. I do not manipulate. I do not scheme or struggle. I simply follow the intuitive nudges, the open doors, the divine appointments that are orchestrated by the master choreographer. When I am in tune with perfect action, everything happens at the right time, in the right way, with the right people. Synchronicity becomes my daily experience. Miracles become my natural state. What looks like coincidence to others, I recognize as divine coordination. My body knows perfect action. Each organ performs its function flawlessly without my conscious direction. My heart knows when to beat. My lungs know when to breathe. My stomach knows how to digest. My liver knows how to cleanse. My kidneys know how to filter. This same intelligence that runs my body without my interference is available to run my entire life when I step aside and let it lead. I trust the wisdom of my body. I trust the healing action taking place within me right now. Cells are regenerating. Tissues are repairing. Systems are rebalancing. All of this happens through perfect automatic action that requires no effort from my conscious mind. I take perfect action in caring for my temple. I am guided to the right foods that nourish and heal. I am drawn to the right movement that strengthens and energizes. I am led to the right rest that restores and rejuvenates. I am attracted to the right practitioners, the right remedies, the right wisdom, at precisely the right moment. There is no confusion in my health journey because I am following the voice of infinite intelligence. When I need information, it appears. When I need help, it arrives. When I need confirmation, it comes. The universe conspires to support my perfect health because I am aligned with perfect action. Every word I speak is perfect action. I do not speak carelessly about my body. I do not rehearse symptoms or diagnose myself into disease. I do not participate in conversations that glorify illness or celebrate suffering. My words are creative power, and I use them only to build up, never to tear down. When someone asks how I am, I respond with truth. I am wonderfully well. I am perfectly healthy. I am strong and vital. This is not denial. This is declaration. I am speaking the end result as though it already exists, because in the realm of spirit, it does already exist. My words call forth the invisible into the visible. The divine plan for my life includes radiant health, and nothing can prevent this plan from manifesting. Every obstacle is removed. Every door that should be open swings wide. Every door that should be closed is firmly shut. I do not bang on closed doors or try to force my way through barriers. Instead, I look for the open door, the divine opportunity, and I walk through it with confidence and gratitude. Florence Scovel Shinn said, "The Christ within is your own fourth-dimensional self, the self which sees clearly and knows the way." I now activate this Christ consciousness. I see clearly. I know the way. I walk the path of perfect health with absolute certainty. Perfect action eliminates all delay. My healing is not postponed. My restoration is not scheduled for some future date. It is happening now. Every treatment works perfectly. Every supplement serves its highest purpose. Every therapy produces optimal results. Every practitioner I encounter is divinely inspired to help me. Every bit of advice I receive is filtered through divine wisdom, so that I accept what serves me and release what does not. I am not a victim of trial and error. I am a beneficiary of divine precision. I give thanks for perfect action in every area of my life. I give thanks for my body's perfect action in healing itself. I give thanks for being guided perfectly in all my choices. I give thanks that divine timing is always perfect timing. I rest in perfect action, knowing that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. And so it is. I now declare the absolute truth of my being. I am whole, complete, and perfect in this very moment. There is no lack in me. There is no deficiency in me. There is no brokenness in me. These are illusions created by the mortal mind. But I am not mortal. I am immortal. Spirit temporarily housed in a physical form, and that spirit knows only wholeness. The appearance of disease is just that, an appearance, a shadow, a temporary distortion that has no power to alter the eternal truth of my divine perfection. I see through the illusion now. I penetrate the veil of false belief. I stand in the clear light of spiritual reality, where only perfection exists. Florence Scovel Shinn reminded us that we must be unmoved by appearances. This is my practice now. I am unmoved by symptoms. I am unmoved by test results. I am unmoved by diagnoses. I am unmoved by the opinions of those who see only with physical eyes. I see with spiritual vision, and spiritual vision reveals that God's image and likeness cannot be sick, cannot be damaged, cannot be less than magnificent. When Moses asked God's name, the answer came, "I am that I am." This is my name too. I am that I am whole, perfect, radiant, alive with divine vitality. No condition can change this fundamental truth of my existence. My consciousness is the key to my healing. What I accept in consciousness becomes my reality. What I reject in consciousness has no power over me. I now reject every thought of limitation. I evict every fear from my mental dwelling place. I cast out every worry about my health. These are unwelcome guests, and I show them the door with the firm authority of one who knows their divine right to a peaceful mind. In their place, I invite thoughts of life, thoughts of strength, thoughts of perfect functioning. I furnish my consciousness with beauty, gratitude, faith, and expectancy. I make my mind a palace fit for the King, and the King is the Christ consciousness that heals all things. The Bible tells us that Jesus looked up to heaven and said, "Father, I thank thee that thou hast heard me, and I knew that thou hearest me always." This is the consciousness of answered prayer. This is the knowing that precedes the manifestation. I now adopt this same consciousness. I thank the divine presence that my prayer for perfect health is heard. I know that I am heard always. I know that my word of healing is already accomplished in the invisible realm. I know that what I see in my mind's eye with faith will appear in my physical experience. This is law. This is principle. This is the way the universe operates, and I am working in harmony with universal law right now. Every challenge I have faced has made me stronger. Every obstacle has taught me to lean more fully on divine support. Every moment of doubt has been an opportunity to deepen my faith. I do not resent my journey. I do not wish I had taken a different path. I bless every step that has brought me to this moment of powerful realization. I am not a victim of my circumstances. I am a victor over them. I am not defined by my past health history. I am defined by my spiritual identity. I am not limited by family patterns or genetic predispositions. I am free to manifest the perfect health that is my divine inheritance, regardless of what has come before. I now command every cell to remember its divine blueprint. You are made in the image of perfection. Return to that image now. You are programmed for health, not disease. Activate that program now. You know the truth of wholeness. Express that truth now. I speak to my DNA and declare, you carry only the codes of life, vitality, strength, and optimal functioning. Every negative pattern is now dissolved. Every harmful tendency is now neutralized. Every weakness is now transformed into strength. My entire biological system is being upgraded to match the perfection that exists in divine mind. I am a miracle in progress. I am a demonstration of divine healing power. I am living proof that God's grace is sufficient, that faith moves mountains, that prayer changes things. My testimony will inspire others. My healing will encourage the discouraged. My transformation will show the world what is possible when we align with spiritual truth instead of accepting material appearances. I am not healing for myself alone. I am healing as a demonstration of universal law, as a beacon of hope, as evidence that the promises of Scripture are not metaphors, but literal realities available to all who believe. Thank you, infinite intelligence, for the perfection that I am. Thank you for dissolving every false belief. Thank you for the healing that is complete right now in consciousness and becoming visible in my body. And so it is. I stand now in the full radiance of my divine health, my perfect strength, and my unwavering alignment with right action. This is not the end of a meditation. This is the beginning of my new life. This is not wishful thinking. This is spiritual law in operation. I have spoken my word, and my word is the word of God speaking through me. It cannot return void. It must accomplish that which it is sent forth to do. I have declared perfect health, and perfect health is now manifesting in every cell, every organ, every system of my body temple. The work is done in consciousness, and what is done in consciousness must appear in form. This is inevitable. This is certain. This is law. Florence Scovel Shinn taught that faith knows it has already received and acts accordingly. I now act accordingly. I move through my day as a perfectly healthy person because that is what I am in truth. I make plans with confidence because I know I have the strength and vitality to fulfill them. I speak about my future with certainty because I know that future is bright, abundant, and filled with wellness. I do not hedge my declarations with doubt. I do not qualify my statements with fear. I do not undermine my faith with what if thinking. I am decided. I am certain. I am immovable in my conviction that God's life is my life, and God's life knows only perfection. I release this word into the universe now with complete trust. I do not need to see immediate evidence to know it is working. The seed planted in darkness still grows, even before it breaks through the soil. My word is that seed, planted in the fertile soil of divine substance, and it is growing right now. Every moment, the invisible is becoming visible. Every hour, the spiritual reality is taking form. Every day, my body is aligning more fully with the truth I have declared. I am patient because I am certain. I am peaceful because I know the outcome. I rest in the absolute assurance that what I have claimed in faith is already mine in reality. I now seal this meditation with gratitude. Gratitude is the ultimate affirmation that my prayer is answered. When I give thanks, I am acknowledging that I have received. I am not hoping to receive. I have received. I am not waiting to receive. I have received. In the realm where all things exist in potential, my perfect health already is. My work is simply to remain in alignment with this truth until it materializes completely in my physical experience. And so I say, thank you. Thank you for my strong heart. Thank you for my clear lungs. Thank you for my efficient digestion. Thank you for my powerful immune system. Thank you for my flexible joints. Thank you for my sharp mind. Thank you for my peaceful emotions. Thank you for my vibrant energy. Thank you for the divine life force that animates every part of my being. I forgive everyone and everything that may have contributed to any condition of less than perfect health. I release all resentment, all bitterness, all anger, all blame. These toxic emotions have no place in my healed consciousness. I forgive my body for any perceived failures. I forgive myself for any choices that may have led to imbalance. I forgive the past completely, and I step into this present moment as a brand new creation. Old things have passed away. All things have become new. I am reborn, in this moment, into perfect health, perfect strength, and perfect action. I claim my divine inheritance now. I am heir to all the riches of the kingdom, and health is the greatest wealth. I am rich in vitality. I am wealthy in well-being. I am abundant in energy and strength. No one can take this inheritance from me because it is given by God, sealed by faith, and activated by my word. I wear the crown of perfect health. I carry the scepter of divine authority over my body. I sit on the throne of consciousness, ruling my physical kingdom with wisdom, love, and unwavering truth. As I go forth from this meditation, I carry this consciousness with me into every activity, every conversation, every moment of my day. I do not leave my healing awareness here, I take it with me. I live from this truth. I breathe this truth. I embody this truth. I am a walking demonstration of divine health. Those who see me will wonder at my vitality. Those who know my story will be amazed at my transformation. Those who doubt will be challenged to reconsider what is possible. I am not doing this for recognition. I am doing this because it is my truth, my reality, my divine right. Perfect health, perfect strength, perfect action. This is not a goal to be achieved. This is a present reality to be accepted. I accept it now. I claim it now. I live it now. The journey is complete. The prayer is answered. The demonstration is made. I am whole. I am well. I am healed. I am strong. I am guided. I am blessed. And so it is, now and forever. Amen. Amen. Amen.
What if everything you've been told about money is completely wrong? Right now, millions of people are grinding through their days, convinced that their financial struggles come from external forces beyond their control. They blame the stock market crash, the government's policies, their boss who won't give them a raise, or simply bad luck that seems to follow them everywhere. Has this ever happened to you? You work harder, stay longer hours, cut every possible expense, yet somehow you're still living paycheck to paycheck, wondering why abundance feels like a distant dream reserved for other people. But before we begin, please hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. Here's what might shock you. Your bank account has absolutely nothing to do with the economy, your job title, or even how hard you work. What you're about to discover might surprise you, but every dollar that flows into or out of your life is controlled by something far more powerful than any earthly institution. It's controlled by divine law. These aren't the kind of laws you learned about in school or read about in financial magazines. These are spiritual frequencies that operate completely independently of worldly circumstances, responding not to market conditions or government decisions, but to your personal alignment with universal principles that have governed abundance since the beginning of time. Think about this for a moment. Why do some people seem to effortlessly attract wealth while others, equally intelligent and hardworking, struggle their entire lives? Why do lottery winners often end up broke again within a few years, while others can lose everything and rebuild their fortunes seemingly overnight? The answer lies in understanding that money is not random, not political, and certainly not personal. It's obedient to spiritual law. If you're currently experiencing financial stress, limitation, or that constant feeling of never having enough, I want you to consider a radical possibility. You're not unlucky, you're not cursed, and you haven't been forgotten by the universe. Instead, you're simply out of alignment with the divine frequencies that govern abundance. This misalignment creates a spiritual disconnection from what is actually your natural birthright, a life of prosperity and flow. Most people spend their entire lives trying to fix their money problems by changing external circumstances, getting a better job, moving to a different city, learning new skills, or following the latest investment strategy. But what if the real issue isn't out there in the world, but within the invisible realm of spiritual vibration? What if your financial reality is simply mirroring back to you the exact frequency you're unconsciously broadcasting every single day through your thoughts, words, and beliefs? Stay with me until the end, because what I'm about to reveal will completely transform not just how you think about money, but how money responds to you. There are 7 specific divine laws that control every financial transaction in your life, and once you understand how to align with them, now I want to go even deeper into this hidden truth that completely revolutionizes how we understand wealth creation. The most profound revelation behind financial transformation isn't about working harder or finding better opportunities. It's about recognizing that money responds to vibration, not effort. This might sound abstract at first, but think about your own journey with money. You've probably noticed people who seem to effortlessly attract opportunities, while others grind themselves into exhaustion with little to show for it. The difference isn't talent, education, or even luck. It's the energetic frequency they're broadcasting into the universe every single moment. Every thought you think, every word you speak, every belief you hold about. Money creates a specific vibration that either magnetizes abundance toward you or repels it away. When your internal frequency is aligned with prosperity, money flows naturally. When it's misaligned, you can work 24 hours a day and still struggle financially. This is why some entrepreneurs build million-dollar businesses while others with identical strategies fail repeatedly. The uncomfortable truth is that you cannot outwork spiritual misalignment. No amount of hustling, grinding, or pushing harder can compensate for contradictory beliefs and misaligned energy running in the background of your subconscious mind. It's like trying to drive forward with the parking brake engaged. The harder you press the accelerator, the more resistance you create. Most people live their entire lives trapped in this exhausting cycle. They believe that success comes from more action, more sacrifice, more hours invested. They follow every business strategy, attend every seminar, read every success book, yet their bank account remains frustratingly stagnant. The missing piece isn't another technique or tactic. It's understanding that your energetic blueprint determines your financial reality. This transformation in perspective changes everything. Instead of chasing money through force and struggle, you begin attracting it through alignment and flow. Instead of feeling powerless against economic circumstances, you realize you hold the remote control to your financial experience. Through your vibrational choices, the 7 divine laws operate on this exact principle. They work through frequency, not force. They respond to your spiritual decisions about who you are and what you deserve, not your physical efforts to manipulate external conditions. When you align with these laws, money begins moving toward you with the same inevitability that water flows downhill. The revelations behind this process are both simple and profound, requiring a complete shift in how you approach wealth building. Rather than asking, "How can I make more money?" the question becomes, "How can I become the kind of person money naturally flows to?" This brings us to a revelation that most people never discover in their entire lifetime. You are essentially operating as a spiritual bank every single day, whether you realize it or not. Every word that comes out of your mouth functions as either a deposit or a withdrawal in your energetic account with the universe. Every thought you entertain generates interest, either positive or negative, that compounds over time and directly impacts your financial reality. Think about the conversations you've had just this week. When you said, "I can't afford that," you made a withdrawal. When you complained about being broke, another withdrawal. When you joked about your financial struggles or spoke about money with fear and anxiety, you were essentially telling the universe to deduct funds from your spiritual account. But here's the fascinating part. When you speak about abundance, express gratitude for what you have, or declare your financial goals with confidence, you're making substantial deposits that accumulate spiritual interest. This hidden mechanism operates behind the scenes of your daily life, silently recording every financial thought and translating it into your lived experience. Most people unknowingly bankrupt themselves spiritually through careless speech and negative thinking patterns, then wonder why their physical bank account reflects the same emptiness. The transformation happens when you realize that these 7 divine laws aren't motivational advice or positive thinking techniques. They're precise spiritual codes that function with mathematical accuracy. Just like entering the correct combination opens a safe, aligning with these laws in exact sequence unlocks the vault of divine supply. There's no room for approximation or casual application. They either work completely or not at all. This is where most people miss the mark. They treat spiritual principles like suggestions they can follow when convenient, mixing and matching according to their mood or circumstances. But divine law doesn't bend to human convenience. It operates on the same unwavering principles as gravity or electricity. You don't negotiate with gravity. You either align with it or face the consequences. The impact of this understanding completely shifts your approach to wealth building. Instead of hoping for financial breakthroughs, you begin engineering them through precise spiritual compliance. Instead of leaving your prosperity to chance, you start operating the exact codes that govern universal abundance. The journey from financial struggle to abundance isn't about learning new strategies or finding better opportunities. It's about recognizing that you already possess the master key to unlimited supply, your conscious alignment with these divine frequencies. The vault has always been there, waiting for someone who understands the combination. The revelations within these laws expose why traditional financial advice often fails and why spiritual principles consistently produce results for those who apply them correctly. Write in the comments, "I'm ready for the codes," if you're beginning to see how this spiritual framework could transform your relationship with money. Now here's where this gets really interesting. 99% of people will never discover these laws because they're too busy chasing money through conventional strategies that actually work against spiritual abundance. They're caught in an endless cycle of panic and striving, applying external tactics while remaining completely locked out of the inner sanctuary where true wealth is generated. Watch people around you and you'll see this pattern everywhere. They're following the latest investment trends, switching careers hoping for better pay, cutting expenses to the bone, or starting side hustles that exhaust them. Behind the scenes, they're operating from fear, scarcity, and desperation, the exact frequencies that repel abundance. It's like trying to tune into a radio station while broadcasting static on the same frequency. The hidden truth that changes everything is understanding that money has no moral character whatsoever. It's neither good nor evil, virtuous nor corrupt. Money is completely neutral. It simply responds obediently to whatever vibrational frequency you emit, serving whoever commands it through proper spiritual alignment, regardless of their background, education, or even their perceived goodness. This revelation dismantles so many limiting beliefs that keep people trapped in financial mediocrity. You don't need to be more deserving, more educated, or more worthy to attract abundance. You don't need to sacrifice your values or compromise your integrity. Money doesn't judge your past decisions or current circumstances. It only recognizes frequency. Think about this for a moment. Money flows to drug dealers and saints alike, to college dropouts and PhD holders, to people with perfect moral records and those with complicated histories. The determining factor isn't character assessment, it's vibrational alignment. Money serves whoever speaks its language fluently through consistent spiritual frequency. This understanding completely transforms your relationship with wealth because it removes all the emotional baggage and moral confusion that clouds most people's financial decisions. You stop wondering if you deserve abundance and start focusing on becoming vibrationally aligned with it. You stop judging wealthy people or creating stories about why money avoids you, and you start operating the precise spiritual mechanics that govern financial flow. The journey becomes surprisingly straightforward once you realize you're not competing for limited resources or trying to prove your worthiness to some cosmic judge. You're simply learning to broadcast the correct frequency that money recognizes and responds to automatically. The impact of this shift in perspective is immediate and profound because it eliminates the internal resistance that sabotages most people's financial efforts before they even begin. Write in the comments, "Money is neutral," if this perspective is starting to reshape how you think about wealth and abundance. This brings us to a deeper understanding that revolutionizes everything you thought you knew about. Financial flow. Money is essentially spirit in motion, spiritual energy that has taken physical form and responds directly to the orders of those who stand in truth and proper alignment. It's not emotional, it's not personal, and it doesn't get offended or play favorites. Money operates as a neutral force that follows spiritual laws with the same mathematical precision as physics or chemistry. Think about this transformation in perspective. Instead of seeing money as something external that you need to chase, capture, or convince to come to you, you begin recognizing it as responsive energy that's simply waiting for clear, consistent direction from someone who understands how to communicate in its language. The hidden truth behind why so many people struggle financially becomes crystal clear when you understand that the universal intelligence governing abundance operates with extraordinary precision. This divine mind that orchestrates all financial flow will not release overflow into contradictory or confused vibrational states. It waits patiently, sometimes for years or even decades, for your internal frequency to match divine alignment before releasing financial supply into your experience. This explains why desperate people rarely attract abundance, why anxious entrepreneurs often sabotage their own success, and why those who most need money frequently repel it. The universe isn't being cruel or withholding, it's simply following its own perfect logic. Confusion creates confusion. Desperation attracts more reasons to be desperate, and scattered energy produces scattered results. The impact of this revelation changes your entire approach to wealth creation. Instead of trying to force outcomes through willpower and intense effort, you begin focusing on achieving internal clarity and alignment first. Instead of wondering why your financial prayers seem unanswered, you start examining whether your vibrational signal is clear enough for the universe to safely respond. The journey becomes about achieving coherence between your conscious desires and your subconscious programming, between what you say you want and what you actually expect to receive. When this alignment happens, money begins flowing, not because you've worked harder or found better strategies, but because you've finally created the internal conditions that allow divine supply to move through you safely. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough is this same principle. Someone achieved vibrational clarity, and the universe responded with mathematical precision to their aligned frequency. Write in the comments, "Clarity over confusion," if you're beginning to see how your internal state directly impacts your external financial reality. This understanding leads us to one of the most counterintuitive revelations about wealth creation. True abundance doesn't flow to the cleverest people, the most educated, or even the most deserving. It flows to the obedient. Wealth is revealed to those who consistently align with divine spiritual principles through daily, exact, and unapologetic adherence to these universal laws, regardless of their background or intellectual capacity. You've probably witnessed this phenomenon without realizing it. The brilliant MBA graduate struggling with debt, while the high school dropout builds a fortune. The kind-hearted social worker barely making ends meet while someone with questionable ethics enjoys abundant prosperity. The determining factor isn't intelligence, education, or moral character. It's spiritual obedience to the laws that govern financial flow. This transformation in understanding removes the frustration and confusion that keeps most people trapped in financial limitation. You stop wondering why life seems unfair or why your good intentions don't translate into material abundance. Instead, you begin focusing on the precise spiritual mechanics that actually control wealth distribution in the universe. Behind the scenes of every sustained fortune is this same principle. Someone discovered the divine laws governing abundance and chose daily obedience over occasional compliance. They understood that spiritual principles work through consistency, not intensity, and that alignment is a practice, not a one-time decision. The hidden truth becomes even more powerful when you realize that divine will actually supports your financial prosperity, not your lack. The biblical blueprint in 3 John, verse 2 states, "Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as thy soul prospereth." This isn't religious rhetoric. It's a spiritual instruction manual revealing that prosperity is part of your divine design. The impact of this revelation dismantles the guilt, shame, and confusion that many people carry around wealth. You're not being selfish by desiring abundance. You're aligning with divine intention. You're not taking from others by prospering. You're fulfilling your spiritual blueprint. The universe doesn't want you broke, struggling, or sacrificing. It wants you prosperous as a reflection of your soul's expansion and spiritual development. The journey toward financial transformation becomes a spiritual practice of daily alignment rather than a desperate chase for external solutions. You begin treating wealth creation as sacred work, approaching these divine laws with the same reverence and consistency you would any spiritual discipline. Write in the comments, divine obedience, if you're ready to approach wealth building as a spiritual practice rather than a worldly struggle. Now, this brings us to a revelation that completely dismantles one of the most destructive beliefs embedded in our culture. The false notion that poverty is somehow pious or that struggling financially makes you more spiritual. This couldn't be further from the truth. Poverty is not a virtue. Scarcity is not sacred, and financial lack does not bring you closer to divine purpose. In fact, the opposite is true. You are meant to prosper because you are a vessel of divine identity, and lack contradicts your true spiritual nature. Think about this transformation in perspective. When you're constantly worried about bills, stressed about money, or exhausted from financial pressure, how much energy do you have left for spiritual growth, serving others, or fulfilling your higher purpose? Financial stress doesn't purify the soul. It distracts it from its true calling. The hidden truth behind authentic spiritual teaching is that your outer world reflects your inner condition. When your soul begins to prosper through spoken word, obedience to divine principles, and genuine expectation of good, money, and opportunities begin responding to you with the same natural inevitability that waves respond to the gravitational pull of the moon. This is where the real transformation happens, not through grinding harder or applying more external strategies, but through cultivating internal prosperity first. Your soul's expansion creates the energetic foundation that draws material abundance effortlessly into your experience. It's not about deserving more money. It's about becoming the kind of person whose inner richness naturally magnetizes outer wealth. Behind the scenes of every lasting financial breakthrough is this same principle operating. Someone aligned their inner prosperity with their outer circumstances, and the universe responded by rearranging physical reality to match their spiritual condition. The journey becomes about nurturing your soul's prosperity through conscious decisions about what you speak, what you expect, and how consistently you align with divine principles. The impact of this understanding shifts everything because you stop trying to manipulate external circumstances and start focusing on the internal transformation that makes abundance inevitable. You realize that your bank account is simply reflecting back to you the level of prosperity your soul has achieved through spiritual practice. The revelations within this principle explain why some people can lose everything and rebuild quickly, while others struggle for decades despite having all the right opportunities and resources. This understanding leads us to a crucial distinction that separates those who experience financial breakthroughs from those who remain trapped in intellectual understanding without results. These 7 divine Laws are not meant for endless analysis, debate, or philosophical discussion. They're designed for immediate, practical application through spoken word, repeated practice, and complete embodiment until your subconscious mind accepts them as absolute truth. Most people approach spiritual principles like academic subjects. They study them, discuss them, analyze their implications, and try to understand every nuance before taking action. But divine law doesn't respond to intellectual comprehension. It responds to vibrational embodiment. You could spend years studying these principles without experiencing any transformation in your financial reality if you're not actively speaking them, practicing them, and living them daily. The hidden truth behind lasting wealth creation is that these principles function as spiritual frequencies that you must become, rather than tools you occasionally pick up and use. You don't dabble in frequency. You either embody it completely or you remain outside its influence. It's like trying to tune into a radio station by thinking about the frequency instead of actually adjusting your receiver to match it. This transformation requires a complete shift from knowing about abundance to becoming abundance itself. When you truly embody these frequencies, you stop trying to attract money and start naturally emanating the vibration that money recognizes and responds to. The journey becomes about aligning your entire being, your thoughts, words, expectations, and daily actions with the frequency of prosperity. Behind the scenes of every financial miracle is someone who stopped analyzing spiritual principles and started living them. They made the conscious decision to embody these frequencies so completely that their outer world had no choice but to rearrange itself to match their inner vibration. The impact of this approach is immediate and profound because your subconscious mind only accepts what you repeatedly demonstrate. Through consistent action and spoken word, reading about abundance principles once or twice has minimal effect, but speaking them daily, practicing them consistently, and embodying them completely rewrites your internal programming at the deepest level. The revelations that come through embodiment rather than analysis create lasting transformation because you're not just changing your thinking, you're changing your entire energetic signature. Write in the comments, embodiment over analysis. If you're ready to stop studying wealth principles and start living them completely. Now, let me reveal the first divine law that will fundamentally transform how you approach every conversation, every internal dialogue, and every casual comment you make throughout your day. The law of the word operates on a principle that most people never grasp. Every single word you speak creates a spiritual mold into which divine substance is automatically poured. Think about this revelation for a moment. Your words aren't just sounds that disappear into the air. They're creative forces that literally shape the substance of your life experience. When you speak from fear, doubt, or limitation, you're creating scarcity molds that the universe fills with matching experiences. When you speak from faith, expectation, and abundance, you're creating supply molds that attract prosperity into your reality. The hidden truth behind this process is that the spiritual world operates with recording precision. It listens constantly to every word you speak and multiplies what it hears without questioning the wisdom, truth, or consequences of your statements. The universe doesn't filter your words through logic or protect you from poor choices. It simply responds to your vibrational instruction with mathematical accuracy. This means when you casually say, "I'm always behind on my bills," you're giving the universe a direct order to create more situations where you're behind. When you joke, "I'm so broke," you're programming your reality for continued financial lack. But here's where the transformation happens. When you consciously declare, "I'm abundantly provided for," you're literally molding your future experiences around that frequency. The impact of understanding this law changes everything, because you realize your mouth isn't just for communication. It's your primary tool for reality creation. Behind the scenes of every financial struggle is unconscious negative programming delivered through careless speech patterns that most people repeat thousands of times without awareness. The journey toward financial transformation begins the moment you take complete responsibility for every word that comes out of your mouth. You stop treating conversation as casual commentary and start approaching it as sacred creation work. You begin speaking intentionally rather than reactively, understanding that your words are literally building your tomorrow's experiences. The revelations that come through conscious application of this law are immediate and undeniable because you start witnessing how your deliberate word choices create corresponding shifts in your external circumstances. Write in the comments, "My words create my world," if you're ready to transform your relationship with language and begin speaking your abundance into existence. This brings us to a profound shift in perspective that most people never make in their entire lifetime. Your mouth was never designed to function as a thermometer that simply reports current conditions. It's meant to operate as a creative instrument that actively shapes and rewrites your reality with every sentence you speak. Most people spend their lives echoing their bank account balance instead of authoring their financial future through conscious word choice. Think about the conversations you've had this week. How often did you describe your current financial situation as if you were reading numbers off a screen? How frequently did you complain about bills, joke about being broke, or express worry about money? Each time you did this, you were essentially programming the universe to maintain those exact conditions rather than transforming them. The hidden truth behind lasting financial transformation is that you must stop treating your mouth like a news reporter and start using it like a master architect. Instead of saying, "I can't afford that," you begin declaring, "My supply meets every demand." Instead of complaining, "Money is so tight," you start affirming, "Abundance flows easily into my life." This isn't positive thinking, it's reality engineering through conscious creation. The transformation happens when you realize that until your speech becomes sacred and intentional, your money cannot become stable. There's a direct, unbreakable connection between conscious speaking and financial stability according to spiritual law. Your words either stabilize or destabilize your financial flow based on their vibrational frequency and creative power. Behind the scenes of every person with consistent financial stability is someone who learned to guard their words like precious seeds, understanding that careless speech patterns create chaotic money patterns, while deliberate declarations create steady abundance streams. The impact of this revelation changes your entire relationship with communication because you begin approaching every conversation as an opportunity to strengthen your financial foundation. The journey toward sacred speech requires vigilance and practice because most people have decades of unconscious programming to overcome. But the moment you commit to speaking only what you want to multiply in your experience, your entire financial reality begins shifting to match your elevated word choices. The revelations that come through sacred speech extend far beyond money because you discover that every area of your life responds to the same creative principle operating through your conscious word choices. Write in the comments, "Sacred speech creates abundance," if you're ready to transform your mouth into a tool for financial creation rather than financial reporting. Now, as powerful as conscious speech is for transforming your financial reality, there's a second divine law that works in perfect harmony with your words to create unstoppable abundance flow. The law of circulation reveals that money is meant to move, flow, and circulate, never to be gripped, hoarded, or held in fear. Money is literally spirit in motion, and like all spiritual energy, it expands when released in faith and contracts when held in fear, perfectly honoring whatever vibration you emit around it. Think about this transformation in understanding. Most people treat money like a precious resource they need to protect and preserve, clutching it tightly out of fear that there won't be enough. But this approach actually works against the very nature of money itself. Spiritual energy cannot multiply in stagnation. It requires movement, flow, and circulation to expand and return to you amplified. The hidden truth behind why some people effortlessly attract money while others struggle to keep it is found in their relationship with circulation. Those who understand this law release money with joy, confidence, and expectation of return. They give, invest, and spend from a place of abundance, knowing that circulation creates more circulation. But those who operate from scarcity grip every dollar, second-guess every expenditure, and unconsciously teach the universe that they don't trust it to provide. When you hold money in fear or hoard it out of anxiety about the future, you're essentially sending a vibrational message to the universe that you don't trust it to return your investment. You're programming scarcity into your experience by treating abundance like a finite resource that must be conserved rather than a flowing river that must be directed. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough is someone who learned to release money with the same confidence they have in breathing, knowing that what goes out will naturally return, usually multiplied. The impact of understanding circulation completely changes your relationship with spending, giving, and investing, because you stop operating from fear of loss and start operating from expectation of return. The journey toward mastering circulation requires rewiring deep survival instincts that tell you to hoard and protect. But divine law cannot multiply abundance in an atmosphere of suspicion, anxiety, or tight-fisted control. It requires flow, movement, and the kind of confidence that comes from understanding money as cooperative spiritual energy rather than competitive material resource. The revelations that come through practicing conscious circulation extend far beyond your bank account because you begin experiencing how all forms of energy respond to the same principle of release and return. Write in the comments, "I trust the flow," if you're ready to release the fear-based grip on money and start circulating with confidence and expectation. This understanding takes us deeper into the mechanics of conscious circulation because it's not enough to simply release money with good intentions. Every dollar you release should be accompanied by spoken declaration of its return. This single practice transforms ordinary spending into spiritual transaction that commands multiplication and activates the circulation loop with divine precision. Most people release money silently, hoping for the best, but not actively directing its return. They pay bills, make investments, or give gifts without ever speaking over the transaction or declaring their expectation of abundance flowing back to them. But when you add conscious declaration to every financial release, you're essentially programming the universe with specific instructions about how that energy should multiply and return to your experience. The transformation happens when you realize that tithing, gifting, and investing are not merely material decisions about moving money from one account to another. They're spiritual transactions that either expand or contract your abundance pipeline based on the frequency and declaration you bring to them. When performed with proper vibrational alignment and spoken word, these activities call forth exponential return rather than loss. Think about this shift in perspective. Instead of grimacing when you pay bills, you begin declaring, "This payment activates my supply channels." Instead of reluctantly giving gifts, you joyfully proclaim, "What I release returns to me multiplied." Instead of nervously making investments, you confidently affirm, "This seed produces abundant harvest in perfect timing." The hidden truth behind why some people experience miraculous returns on their giving while others feel depleted is found in this practice of conscious declaration. Behind the scenes of every financial miracle is someone who learned to speak over every transaction, turning routine money movements into powerful spiritual activations that command the universe's cooperation. The impact of this practice is immediate because you're no longer passively hoping that your financial releases will somehow benefit you. You're actively commanding their return through the same creative power that governs all abundance flow. The journey toward mastering circulation with declaration requires developing the habit of never releasing money silently again, understanding that your words are the activating force that transforms spending into spiritual investment. The revelations that come through this practice extend beyond personal finance because you begin witnessing how conscious direction affects every form of energy exchange in your life, from relationships to business opportunities to creative endeavors. Write in the comments, "I declare abundance." If you're ready to transform every financial transaction into a conscious spiritual activation through spoken word. Now, the first two laws we've explored create the foundation for abundance flow through conscious word and circulation. But there's a third divine law that bridges the gap between spiritual principle and physical manifestation in the most profound way. The law of assumption requires that you walk, speak, breathe, and expect as if your financial demonstration is already complete. Because in divine mind, it already is. What delays the visible manifestation is not divine timing or external circumstances. It's your own refusal to step into the feeling of completion. This transformation in approach challenges everything most people believe about manifestation, because it requires you to live from the end result rather than working toward it. Most people operate from a vibration of striving, hoping, and waiting for their abundance to arrive. But this very frequency of expectation actually delays what you're trying to create, because you cannot manifest wealth while vibrating in a state of waiting or hoping. The hidden truth behind instantaneous financial breakthroughs is that someone collapsed the timeline and assumed the frequency of fulfillment now, living as if their supply was already released into their experience. They stopped asking, "When will my money come?" and started operating from, "My abundance is here now." They quit rehearsing lack through anxious waiting and began embodying wealth through confident assumption. Think about this shift in your own experience. When you truly assume something is already yours, you stop desperately seeking it. When you know your paycheck is coming, you don't panic about money. When you're certain about an outcome, you naturally relax into its reality. The law of assumption works the same way, but it requires you to step into that certainty before seeing physical evidence. Behind the scenes of every financial miracle is someone who made the decision to live as if their demonstration was already complete. They began making decisions from abundance rather than scarcity, speaking from fulfillment rather than lack, and expecting from certainty rather than hope. The impact of this practice is immediate, because your entire energy field shifts from the vibration of seeking to the vibration of having. The journey toward mastering assumption requires releasing the need for external validation before stepping into your new financial identity. It means feeling wealthy before your bank account changes, acting abundant before opportunities appear, and expecting prosperity before circumstances shift. The revelations that come through consistent assumption practice transform not just your relationship with money, but your entire approach to creating any desired outcome in your life. Write in the comments, "It is already done," if you're ready to step into the frequency of financial completion, rather than continuing to wait for abundance to arrive. This practice of assumption isn't wishful thinking or self-deception. It's spiritual rehearsal that trains your body, breath, and cells to radiate the condition you command rather than the condition you currently experience. When you consistently assume wealth, you're literally reprogramming your nervous system, your posture, your decision-making patterns, and your energetic signature to match abundance rather than lack. Think about how this transformation works on a cellular level. When you genuinely feel wealthy, your body chemistry changes, your stress hormones decrease, your confidence increases, and you naturally begin making choices that wealthy people make. Your brain starts recognizing opportunities that were always there but invisible to your scarcity-focused awareness. This isn't positive thinking. It's biological and energetic reprogramming through conscious assumption. The hidden truth behind why assumption works so powerfully is that your subconscious mind cannot distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and actual experiences. When you consistently rehearse the feeling of financial abundance, your internal guidance system begins directing you toward thoughts, actions, and opportunities that align with that assumed reality. Now, this brings us to the fourth divine law that amplifies everything we've discussed so far through a practice that most people completely misunderstand: the law of tithing. With word reveals that tithing is not religious obligation, guilt-driven duty, or superstitious ritual. It's spiritual alignment that activates abundant flow when done with conscious declaration and specific intention. Most people approach giving from exactly the wrong frequency. They give money and hope for the best, treating tithing like a cosmic lottery ticket where they're not sure if anything will come back. But the few who understand this law give money and command return through spoken word, transforming ordinary giving into powerful spiritual activation that the universe must respond to. Behind the scenes of every person who experiences miraculous returns on their giving is someone who learned to tithe with word, not just with money. They don't give silently and hope. They give boldly and declare. They don't tithe from fear of consequence. but from confidence in cosmic law. The impact of this approach completely changes your relationship with generosity because you're no longer losing money when you give. You're investing in guaranteed multiplication. The journey toward mastering tithing with word requires understanding that your spoken declaration over every gift, donation, or tithe is what activates the return mechanism. The revelations that come through this practice extend far beyond financial return because you begin witnessing how conscious direction transforms every form of energy exchange in your experience. Write in the comments, "I tithe with declaration," if you're ready to transform your giving from hopeful gesture into powerful spiritual command that activates guaranteed return. This understanding takes tithing to its deepest spiritual level, because true tithing is not about giving to individuals, organizations, or even causes you believe in. It's about giving to spiritual principle itself, acknowledging that spirit is your ultimate source rather than any person, job, or institution. When you tithe from this perspective, you're not trying to support someone else's work. You're honoring the universal law that governs all supply and circulation. The transformation happens when you realize that authentic tithing is done from covenant rather than emotion. It's not about feeling moved by someone's story, guilted into giving, or hoping to earn favor through generosity. It's about entering into spiritual contract with the law of circulation itself, sealing your participation in divine flow through conscious giving that acknowledges the source of all abundance. Think about this shift in your own giving patterns. When you give to principle rather than personality, you're no longer dependent on how others use your gift or whether they appreciate your generosity. You're not giving to get emotional satisfaction or recognition. You're giving to activate cosmic law that must respond regardless of human variables or external circumstances. The hidden truth behind exponential returns on giving is that someone learned to tithe as spiritual practice rather than emotional response. Behind the scenes of every miraculous multiplication is a person who understood that their giving was actually a declaration of faith in universal supply, not a transaction with limited human resources. But here's where most people miss the full power of this practice. You must never give in silence again. Every act of generosity must be accompanied by spoken declaration that waters the seed you're planting with your voice. Most people give money and walk away, treating their generosity like a gamble where they hope something good might happen. But when you speak over every gift, affirming its increase and expecting its return, you transform ordinary giving into spiritual command that the universe must honor. The impact of this practice is immediate because you're no longer wondering if your giving will produce results. You're actively programming its multiplication through conscious declaration. The journey toward mastering declared giving requires developing the habit of never releasing money without speaking your expectation over it, understanding that your words are the activating force that distinguishes random generosity from strategic spiritual investment. The revelations that come through this practice teach you that every seed you plant in any area of life requires the water of spoken word to produce maximum harvest, whether you're planting financial seeds, relationship seeds, business seeds, or creative seeds. Write in the comments, "I speak over every seed," if you're ready to transform your giving from silent hope into powerful spiritual activation through conscious declaration. Now, the first 4 laws create incredible momentum toward abundance, but there's a 5th divine law that determines whether all your efforts will succeed or sabotage themselves through internal contradiction. The law of agreement reveals that you cannot say one thing and believe another without creating vibrational chaos that blocks your manifestation. Agreement means sacred harmony between what you say, what you believe, and what you genuinely expect to happen in your experience. Most people unknowingly violate this law constantly, creating internal warfare that neutralizes their abundance efforts. They affirm wealth in the morning but worry about bills at night. They declare prosperity while making jokes about being broke. They speak abundance but expect struggle. This contradiction creates scrambled signals that confuse the universe and delay financial breakthrough indefinitely. The transformation happens when you realize that true agreement isn't just about positive thinking. It's about achieving complete vibrational coherence between your conscious desires and your subconscious programming. When your inner and outer word finally align, you become magnetic to matching abundance, because there's no internal resistance disrupting your signal. Think about this challenge in your own experience. How often do you catch yourself speaking abundance while feeling scarcity? How frequently do you affirm prosperity while your deeper beliefs whisper doubts about your worthiness or capability? The hidden truth behind why some people manifest quickly while others struggle for years is found in this internal agreement between all levels of their being. But here's where this gets really powerful. You must consciously burn your contracts with scarcity. Over the years, you've made silent agreements with lack through family patterns that normalized struggle, cultural conditioning that romanticized poverty, and casual conversations that reinforced limitation. These unconscious contracts are still operating in your subconscious, sabotaging your conscious abundance efforts. The journey toward complete agreement requires actively dissolving these old contracts and consciously signing new ones that agree only with wealth, prosperity, and divine supply. Behind the scenes of every sustained financial transformation is someone who did this inner work of contract revision, refusing to honor agreements with lack that were never their true choice. The impact of achieving internal agreement is immediate because your entire being begins broadcasting the same frequency. Your words, thoughts, emotions, and expectations all begin pulling in the same direction rather than working against each other. The revelations that come through this practice extend far beyond money, because you discover how internal agreement affects every area of manifestation in your life. Write in the comments, "I choose new agreements," if you're ready to dissolve old contracts with lack and sign fresh agreements that align completely with abundance. Now, this brings us to what might be the most foundational divine law of all, because even if you master every other principle, your results will always be limited by this sixth law. The law of identity reveals that you can only receive what your identity can hold and attract what your subconscious genuinely believes you're worthy of experiencing. If you see yourself as a struggler, someone who's bad with money, or a person who never gets ahead, the universe has no choice but to mirror that exact limitation back to you. This is where most people hit an invisible ceiling in their financial growth. They might apply abundance techniques, speak positive words, and even experience temporary breakthroughs, but eventually they return to their original financial condition because their core identity hasn't shifted. Your subconscious mind acts like a thermostat, constantly adjusting your external circumstances to match your internal sense of who you are. The transformation happens when you understand that identity change must precede reality change, not the other way around. Most people wait for external circumstances to shift before they allow themselves to feel wealthy, successful, or abundant. But according to spiritual law, you must replace every old label with new identity statements first. Then reality reshapes itself to match your new self-concept. Think about the labels you've carried about yourself and money. I'm not good with numbers. Money doesn't come easily to me. I'm just not the wealthy type. Rich people are different from me. Every one of these identity statements functions like a spiritual contract that limits what you can receive because your subconscious mind will sabotage any opportunity that conflicts with your established sense of self. The hidden truth behind lasting financial transformation is that someone consciously replaced statements like, "I'm bad with money," with "I am wealth in motion." They stopped identifying as someone who struggles and started embodying the identity of someone for whom abundance flows naturally. Behind the scenes of every sustained prosperity story is this fundamental identity shift that preceded all external changes. The journey toward identity. Transformation requires daily repetition of new self-concepts until they feel more natural than the old limiting labels. You must speak your new identity aloud, think from your new identity, and make decisions from your new identity until your subconscious finally accepts this upgraded version of who you are. The impact of this work is profound because once identity truly changes through conscious repetition, reality must follow according to spiritual law. The revelations that come through Identity transformation extends far beyond money because you discover that every area of your life reflects back your deepest beliefs about who you are and what you deserve to experience. Write in the comments, "I am wealth in motion," if you're ready to replace old financial identity labels with new abundance statements that reshape your entire reality. Now, all 6 laws we've explored create incredible potential for financial transformation, but there's a 7th and final divine law that determines whether you'll actually experience lasting change or simply remain an educated observer of spiritual principles. The law of obedience reveals that you cannot command money if you refuse to obey spiritual law consistently. This isn't about achieving perfection or never making mistakes. It's about developing the kind of daily, intentional, sacred repetition that reshapes your entire reality through rhythm. Most people approach spiritual principles like a buffet, picking and choosing which laws they'll follow based on their mood, convenience, or current circumstances. They practice abundance techniques when they remember, speak consciously when they feel inspired, and circulate money when it seems easy. But divine law doesn't respond to casual application. It responds to consistent obedience that creates new patterns in your subconscious programming. The transformation happens when you realize that spiritual obedience is the bridge between knowing these laws and living their results. Behind the scenes of every sustained financial breakthrough is someone who made the decision to practice these principles daily, regardless of how they felt, what their circumstances looked like, or whether they saw immediate evidence of change. Think about this challenge in your own journey with these 7 laws. How often have you learned powerful spiritual principles only to apply them sporadically when life got busy or doubt crept in? The hidden truth is that rhythm creates results more than intensity ever will. Someone who practices these laws imperfectly but consistently will always outperform someone who applies them perfectly but occasionally. This understanding leads us to a practical framework that can revolutionize your relationship with money in just 7 days. The 7 Days of Covenant Living Challenge requires you to practice all 7 laws daily as your new rhythm, creating a comprehensive spiritual practice that addresses every aspect of financial manifestation simultaneously. The structure is surprisingly simple, but profoundly effective. Each morning begins with conscious word declaration, speaking your financial reality into existence. Midday involves assumption embodiment, living as if your abundance is already complete. Throughout the day, you practice thought substitution, replacing any scarcity thinking with abundance statements. Evening includes circulation with declaration, releasing money while speaking its return. Finally, you seal each day with expectation practices that anchor your faith in divine provision. The impact of this 7-day intensive creates momentum that most people have never experienced because you're addressing financial transformation from every angle simultaneously rather than hoping one technique will somehow override years of contradictory programming. Write in the comments, "I commit to 7 days," if you're ready to move beyond studying these laws and start living them through consistent daily practice. The beauty of this 7-day framework lies in its precision and simplicity, starting each morning with a command routine that sets your entire day's frequency. The moment you wake, before checking your phone or allowing the world's chaos to infiltrate your consciousness, you begin with the law of the word, declaring, "My voice is the voice of wealth. I speak money into motion." This isn't just reciting words. You're literally programming your subconscious mind and announcing to the universe your financial intentions for the day. Immediately following this declaration, you embody the law of assumption by consciously shifting into living as though your supply is already released. This means making your morning coffee as someone who is financially free, choosing your clothes as someone whose abundance is secured, and planning your day from the mindset of someone whose prosperity is already manifesting. The transformation happens in these seemingly small moments because you're training your nervous system to operate from abundance rather than anxiety. As your day unfolds, the midday alignment practice becomes your spiritual anchor point, especially when the world tries to pull you back into old patterns of thinking. This is where the law of substitution becomes your most powerful tool. The moment you catch yourself thinking thoughts of lack, doubt, fear, or delay, you immediately interrupt that pattern and replace it with, I am divinely provided for. There is no loss. In spirit. Think about how radical this practice actually is. Most people allow hundreds of scarcity thoughts to pass through their minds unchallenged throughout the day, each one reinforcing their financial limitations. But when you become vigilant about thought substitution, you're essentially rewiring your mental patterns in real time, refusing to allow your mind to rehearse lack when you could be rehearsing abundance. The hidden truth behind why this midday practice is so effective is that your subconscious mind doesn't distinguish between repetition that happens during formal meditation and repetition that happens during daily life. Every time you substitute a fear-based thought with an abundance-based declaration, you're making a deposit in your spiritual bank account that accumulates interest throughout the day. Behind the scenes of every financial breakthrough is someone who learned to guard their thoughts as carefully as they guard their physical possessions. Understanding that mental discipline creates material results. The impact of consistent thought substitution extends far beyond money because you begin experiencing how conscious mental direction affects every area of your life experience. The journey through this 7-day practice reveals layer after layer of unconscious programming that has been silently sabotaging your financial efforts, while simultaneously installing new patterns that naturally attract abundance. Write in the comments, I guard my thoughts, if you're ready to practice vigilant thought substitution and refuse to allow scarcity thinking to sabotage your abundance efforts. As the day draws to a close, the evening seal ritual becomes the most powerful moment in your entire spiritual practice, because this is where you activate the law of circulation with absolute intention and divine declaration. Whether you're tithing to spiritual principle, giving to someone in need, or simply circulating money through normal transactions, you never release a single dollar without speaking over it. This seed is blessed, it returns to me multiplied, it opens doors no man can shut. This practice transforms ordinary money movement into extraordinary spiritual activation because you're programming every financial release with expectation of increase rather than fear of loss. Most people pay bills with resentment, give money with anxiety, or spend with worry about whether they'll have enough. But when you speak blessing over every dollar that leaves your hands, you're essentially commanding the universe to honor your circulation with abundant return. The transformation happens when you realize that this evening declaration isn't just hope or positive thinking, it's spiritual law in action. You're not asking the universe to maybe bless your giving. You're declaring that divine law must respond to your conscious circulation with multiplication. Behind the scenes of every financial miracle is someone who learned to speak over their money with this level of authority and expectation. Following your circulation declarations, you seal the entire day with expectation statements that anchor your faith in divine provision. This isn't passive hoping, but active commanding, declaring that your supply is already on its way, that opportunities are already arranging themselves, and that abundance is already flowing toward you through channels you haven't even imagined yet. But here's where this entire 7-day practice culminates in the most powerful spiritual statement you can make about your relationship with money. You seal all your practices with the ultimate declaration of authority. Because I obey divine law, money cannot ignore me. This becomes your spiritual sword, your rhythm, and your reprogramming tool that literally makes the external world bend to match your internal frequency. Think about the profound shift this represents in your relationship with abundance. You're no longer begging the universe for financial breakthrough or wondering if you deserve prosperity. You're declaring that your obedience to spiritual law creates an irresistible magnetic pull that money must respond to. The hidden truth behind this declaration is that it positions you as a spiritual authority rather than a financial victim. If you've stayed with me through this entire journey of the 7 divine laws, you're clearly someone who's ready for real transformation, not just surface-level motivation. The fact that you're still here tells me everything I need to know about your commitment to changing your financial reality through spiritual alignment rather than just hoping for lucky breaks. These laws we've explored together aren't going anywhere. They'll be working in your life whether you consciously apply them or not. But now you have the choice to work with them intentionally, to to become someone who commands abundance rather than chases it. This is exactly the kind of deep, practical, spiritual content I share here because I believe you deserve to understand how the universe actually operates behind the scenes. If this resonates with you, if you can feel these principles stirring something inside that knows this is your path forward, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. There's so much more to explore about the intersection of spiritual law and practical abundance, and I want to continue this conversation with you. Let me know you made it all the way through by writing "I'm ready to command" in the comments below. When I see that phrase, I'll know you're serious about this transformation and not just looking for quick fixes or temporary inspiration. And if this content created that spark of recognition, that feeling of, this is what I've been looking for, go ahead and hit the like button. It helps me know these deeper teachings are reaching the right people, those who are ready to do the inner work that creates outer change. There's a video right here that complements this topic perfectly, diving even deeper into how your spiritual identity shapes your material reality. Click and continue with me over there, because this is just the beginning of what's possible when you align with divine law.
You think you've lost time. You think you've missed it. You think the door has closed, the season has passed, and the ship has sailed without your name on the manifest. But I am here to tell you, time is not your master, and spirit is never late. You may have wandered, delayed, hesitated, fallen, forgotten, repeated cycles again and again, but the law of the Lord restores. Spirit does not keep a clock as man does. Spirit keeps rhythm. And the rhythm of spirit can redeem years in a moment, if you will only speak what you have not yet dared to say. Most people waste years, not because they lacked talent or intelligence or opportunity, but because they never spoke the one sentence that would have shifted everything. They waited for signs, for confirmation, for the perfect plan, but they did not speak. And in the absence of a spoken word, life defaulted to the outer world, governed by appearances, delays, fears, and false timelines. The soul was ready, the good was prepared, the storehouse was full, but the lips were silent. Let me be clear from the very beginning. You are not late. You are not off course. You are not too far gone. What you call delay, God calls redirection. What you call wasted time, heaven calls training ground. What you thought was punishment was really positioning, but none of that becomes fruitful until your word aligns with your truth. You have waited too long. Not for God, but for your own permission. You have waited on circumstances to change, not realizing that the spoken word is the cause, not the effect. There is a sentence that rewrites history, a sentence that resets momentum, a sentence that snaps you back into divine timing and summons your demonstration with spiritual force. I will give it to you. I will show you how to use it, when to use it, and what happens when you do. But first, you must let go of the story that time has robbed you. Time cannot rob the child of God. It is subject to your word. The world tells you it's too late. Your ego tells you you've missed it. But I tell you now, what is yours cannot be lost. It is not gone. It is waiting. And it is waiting for your voice. Speak, and the years realign. Speak, and the rhythm returns. Speak, and what seemed far becomes near. Because in the realm of spirit, the moment you say the right thing, the whole universe moves to obey. You have not failed. You have simply not spoken. But now you will. Silence is not neutral. Silence is not stillness. Silence, when the soul longs to speak, becomes agreement with delay. Most people live by default because they refuse to declare their destiny. They believe that if they wait quietly long enough, life will reveal its purpose to them. But purpose does not appear to the passive. Purpose is provoked by the word. Destiny does not emerge in the silence of fear. It emerges in the boldness of faith. I have watched countless souls stall their miracles, not because they lacked worth, but because they lacked the courage to command. They watched others move forward. They watched opportunities pass. And they said, perhaps it wasn't meant to be. But that is not truth. That is a lie dressed as humility. The truth is, they did not speak. And the law, perfect, impartial, and obedient, responded accordingly. When you do not speak, you are not free. You are at the mercy of circumstance. You are living beneath your divine rights, acting as a spiritual beggar in a kingdom that belongs to you. There is no reward for suffering in silence. There is no medal for delay. There is only postponed good, waiting on your decree. Because the spoken word is what initiates spiritual movement, not emotion, not desire, not silence. Only speech activates the law. To say nothing when you should speak is to hand your authority to appearances. It is to give your inheritance to confusion. It is to sit on a throne and refuse to rule. You have a mouth. You have breath. You have the law of the word. But when you remain quiet in the face of stagnation, you are not practicing patience. You are permitting delay. There is no virtue in voicelessness. You were not created to tiptoe through time, hoping to stumble into your destiny. You were created to call it forth. You were created to say, "Let there be," and watch it come to pass. Every unsaid word is a locked door. Every unspoken truth is a seed that withers. Every time you choose silence over declaration, you choose wandering over alignment. It is time to end the silence. It is time to break the contract with delay. It is time to revoke the agreement you made with fear. And you will do it not by weeping, not by waiting, but by speaking. Say this now. I am no longer silent. I revoke every word I failed to say. I speak now, and life rearranges itself around my decree. This is not poetry. This is not metaphor. This is law. Law hears your voice. Law does not respond to intention. It responds to vibration. So speak, and speak now. For every moment you remain silent, you are not just delaying your good. You are agreeing to live beneath it. Now I give you the sentence. Not a phrase to decorate your journal. Not a sweet affirmation to repeat without conviction. This is a spiritual decree that cuts through the illusion of wasted time, realigns you with divine timing, and commands the return of all that appears lost. This sentence, when spoken in faith and rhythm, has the power to shift your entire timeline, because it releases the law of restoration, the law of non-resistance, and the law of divine completion all at once. Here it is. Nothing is lost in spirit. I am now divinely redirected. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. Say it again, slowly, with breath, with boldness, with sacred authority. Nothing is lost in spirit. I am now divinely redirected. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. Most people never say this. Instead, they say, I missed it. It's too late. I blew my chance. Maybe it wasn't meant for me. And so they remain bound, not by truth, but by their own sentence of delay. Their word becomes their wall. Their speech becomes their snare. And they wait for years, not knowing that one sentence could have broken the cycle. Let me show you. A woman came to me in despair. She had turned down an opportunity 5 years earlier, a partnership, an investment, a life shift, and ever since, she had believed she ruined her future. She said, I had a window, and I let it close. But I did not accept that verdict. I handed her the sentence and told her to speak it aloud 3 times a day for 21 days. No wavering, no apologizing, no compromise. Just pure declaration. She began speaking, Nothing is lost in spirit. I am now divinely redirected. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. On day 8, she received a call from a former colleague with a new invitation, better than the first, perfectly timed, precisely what she had desired. The old path had only been a shadow. The new one was the real thing. But it did not come by effort. It came by the word. The law responded to her sentence and realigned the invisible to serve her. Understand, spirit does not operate in linear time. It operates in divine pattern. And when your pattern becomes verbalized, when your rhythm matches heaven's blueprint, what you thought was gone will return by another route, not because you earned it, but because you finally spoke as one who knows. Repeat this now. Nothing is lost in spirit. I am now divinely redirected. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. This is your new timeline. This is your spiritual override. This is the sentence that rescues the years. And once spoken in full faith, the law must obey. You think the years have been wasted. You look back on broken relationships, missed calls, half-built dreams, and you wonder, what was the point of it all? But I tell you boldly, in spirit, nothing is wasted, nothing is lost, and all time is redeemable through the spoken word. There is a higher clock than the one on your wall. There is a divine timeline that does not run on deadlines, disappointments, or delay. It runs on decree, and what you speak into that timeline becomes law. The law of restoration is not emotional, it is mathematical in spirit. It does not weigh your mistakes. It does not tally your failures. It listens only for the voice of faith, the command of truth, the sound of spiritual identity. And the moment you speak in alignment with restoration, the law begins to fold time, reroute your good, and bring forth what you believed was lost. Let me give you a living example. A man came to me defeated. He had spent 2 decades chasing one business that never bore fruit. He had ignored his inner promptings. He had resisted every call to pivot. He said, "Florence, I wasted 20 years of my life." And I told him, "You did not waste 20 years. You simply haven't yet spoken the word that redeems them." I handed him this declaration, "My years are not lost. They are restored. Every hour I once misused is now repaid with perfect purpose." He spoke it for 7 days. On the 8th, he met a former client who offered him a new path, an accelerated version of the old vision, with all the resources he needed. What would have taken him 10 years to build came together in 10 weeks. Why? Because the years are not restored through effort, they are restored through law, and law obeys the spoken word. When you align your voice with truth, the so-called waste becomes wealth, the confusion becomes clarity, the regret becomes recompense. There is no lost time in the mind of God, only divinely delayed demonstration, waiting for your word. Say it with me now. My time is not lost. My path is not broken. My years are restored by law. I speak, and what was delayed now appears in divine perfection. Do not mourn the lost seasons. Speak over them, redeem them, command them to return. Say aloud, "What I missed in fear, I now receive in faith." This is the secret rhythm of heaven. What you thought you forfeited is now on its way back, faster, fuller, and firmer than ever, because you finally spoke the word that invited it home. And so it is. Delay is not caused by life. It is caused by vibration. When you vibrate with hesitation, you attract pause. When you vibrate with fear, you attract stagnation. When your word is muffled by doubt, you enter into spiritual limbo. Not because spirit has withheld your good, but because your own tongue has suspended its arrival. So now, I teach you how to reverse delay. Not with panic, not with force, not with desperate effort, but with deliberate, rhythmic, spiritual speech. You must learn to speak against delay like a master commands a servant, calmly, certainly, and without apology. The law does not respond to emotional volume. It responds to spiritual precision. Speak clearly, and the doors move. Speak rightly, and the crooked paths straighten. Speak faithfully, and time bends to your decree. There are moments when appearances will scream, "It's too late." That is your signal, not to retreat, but to speak louder in spirit. Speak directly into the delay. Say, "This is not denial, it is divine rearrangement." Say, "There is no delay in spirit. My demonstration is now being positioned. Say, my path is being cleared in silence. My supply is arriving in order. I walk in perfect timing, regardless of appearances. Every time you speak like this, you override the illusion of waiting. You convert the appearance of stillness into the truth of movement. You remind the law of your authority. And the law, being perfect, cannot resist your instruction. Let this become your daily spiritual hygiene. When doubt arises in the morning, say, "This is the day of demonstration. I do not wait. I walk in revealed rhythm." When regret whispers in the afternoon, say, "I bless my former path. I now receive greater good with no resistance." When fear of delay returns at night, say, "Spirit wastes nothing. What is mine arrives swiftly under grace." This is how you speak as one who governs. This is how you exit delay and enter demonstration. You do not beg the day to turn. You declare that it already has. Speak now. There is no delay. There is only divine orchestration. What I call forth appears because I speak in rhythm with spirit. And let that be your ongoing rhythm, because once you begin to speak like this, not once but daily, not passively but powerfully, delay becomes impossible. The law has no choice but to obey the voice that refuses to be contradicted. Now I speak to you with holy urgency. You have heard the truth. You have received the sentence. You have touched the rhythm of law. But none of it will matter unless you accept the mantle, unless you act, unless you speak with consistency and command. This is not about inspiration. This is not about waiting until you feel ready. This is about rising in your own authority and deciding, once and for all, that your life moves at the pace of your word. So I give you this charge. For the next 21 days, speak this sentence 3 times a day, without fail, without hesitation, without apology. Nothing is lost in spirit. I am now divinely redirected. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. Write it down. Carry it in your wallet. Save it on your phone. Whisper it into your pillow. Etch it into your day like a spiritual appointment. Not out of superstition, but out of dominion. You are not testing God. You are activating law. And law responds to rhythm, to repetition, to unshakable belief. You must not speak this once and then return to fear. You must not speak it once and then contradict it with worry. You must not speak it once and then cancel it with your doubt. Speak it and seal it. Speak it and trust. Speak it and move. Here is your challenge. Speak the sentence when you wake. Speak it again at midday. Speak it once more before you sleep. Each time, speak as if the universe is leaning in to obey. Because it is. Speak with reverence. Speak with rhythm. Speak with joy. And expect to see signs, shifts, and divine interruptions within the first 7 days. Because the moment your word becomes law, life begins to reorder itself in your favor. And I tell you this, you will not finish these 21 days the same. Doors will open, regret will melt, momentum will rise. You will not need to chase what is yours. It will come find you because your word will have summoned it. You are no longer the seeker. You are the speaker. You are no longer the wanderer. You are the governor. And you no longer live by delay. You live by decree. So rise, speak, declare, and watch what returns, not because of time, but because of truth spoken in time. Now we speak not to explain, but to command, not to learn, but to imprint. This is the affirmation sequence that seals the truth into your being. Each sentence is a spiritual strike. Each word is a vibration of certainty. Say them not as questions, not as wishes, but as divine facts. Speak them with breath, with rhythm, with power. Let every part of you hear this. Let every old belief fall away. Let every cell obey. Say them now, out loud, slowly, one by one. Nothing is lost in spirit. What is mine returns in greater form. My years are redeemed by law. I am now divinely redirected. I do not wait. I walk in perfect timing. Delay is over. Demonstration begins. My word governs my timeline. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. Again, nothing is lost. I am redirected. It is coming now. Let the rhythm carry you. Let the truth echo in you. These are not poetic lines. These are activation codes. Each one cancels an old belief. Each one plants a new pattern. You do not need more time. You need a new word. And now that you've spoken it, your world is rearranging. Say this final seal. I speak, I realign, I receive. Again, I speak, I realign, I receive. One more time. I speak, I realign, I receive. And so it is. Now that you have spoken, stay in rhythm. Do not return to silence. Do not shrink back into delay. Let your decree become your daily atmosphere. Let the vibration of your word continue until your demonstration is visible, tangible, undeniable. This is not the end of a video. It is the beginning of a new way of being. Comment below and write the sentence that restores your time. Nothing is lost in spirit. I am now divinely redirected. What is mine comes swiftly and cannot be stopped. Let your comment be a contract with law. Let your words testify to your new rhythm. Return to this message daily. Re-listen, re-speak, re-enter the current of power until your outer world reflects your inner alignment. You are not behind. You are not broken. You are not late. You are in divine positioning now, and your word governs your world. Subscribe, not for more information, but to remain in this vibration. Come back here as often as you need, not to remember, but to reignite. This channel is not a library. It is a temple for your word. Your years were never wasted. They were simply waiting to be called back by your voice. And now you have spoken. The shift has begun, and nothing can stop it. And so it is. There is a secret that holds more power than all the words spoken upon the earth. It is not shouted from rooftops, nor written on tablets of stone. It is whispered in the silence of the heart, and only those who know how to guard it find that it multiplies and manifests in their life with marvelous accuracy. The law is simple: what you hold in silence grows, what you scatter in idle chatter dissolves. The invisible always precedes the visible, and the unseen thought takes form long before the world has eyes to see it. Therefore, the tongue is not merely a servant of expression, it is the gatekeeper of destiny. When you hold a desire, a vision, or a prayer, the moment you speak too soon, you dissipate the force of it. Others, with their doubts, fears, and casual words, may pour cold water on the flame of your faith. And yet, when you guard that secret like a jewel in the vault of your soul, it begins to gather substance. Silence, then, is not weakness, it is strength. For the silent one is communing with the infinite, and the infinite requires no defense. A seed planted in the ground must not be disturbed. If the gardener digs it up each day to show the neighbors, it will wither. So too with the seed of your heart's desire. The soil of spirit is dark, deep, and hidden from the curious eye. You water it with faith, you warm it with gratitude, and you protect it from the winds of doubt. In time, it rises, first tender, then strong, until the harvest is undeniable. Those who laughed will watch in awe, for nothing can stop a vision guarded in silence and nourished by conviction. Your words carry vibration. To speak of your secret before it is strong enough is to invite currents that may not be friendly. Some will envy, some will criticize, and some will project their own fears upon your dream. Why give them the chance? Instead, walk in quiet certainty, knowing that what belongs to you by divine right cannot be taken, delayed, nor denied. Let your silence be your shield, and your manifestation will be your testimony. The one who talks endlessly about what they will do often never does it. The one who moves in stillness, Holding the image firmly within is the one who arrives. Power works in the unseen. Electricity itself is silent until it meets a channel. So it is with spiritual power. Hold your secret until it becomes too real to be denied, until it breaks forth like dawn after the longest night. The world respects results, but results are born from the womb of silence. Therefore, learn the holy art of keeping your own counsel. Whisper your desire only to the infinite, and trust that it has already heard. Hold this secret and shut your mouth, for in that quiet lies the miracle. Silence protects the seed of your desire, for every thought, every intention, every vision you hold within yourself is a living seed. It is planted not in the soil of the earth, but in the fertile ground of your consciousness. Just as the farmer knows better than to expose his seed to the air, the frost, and the trampling of feet, so must the wise one guard the inner seed of their heart. The moment you decide upon a desire, the instant you see in your mind's eye the picture of what you long to create or receive, that seed begins its silent journey into form. It is fragile at first, invisible to others, vulnerable to the careless word and the doubtful thought. In its earliest stage, it is a tender shoot. And if it is constantly exposed to the chatter of tongues or the skepticism of others, its power can be weakened and the soil disturbed. Silence is the rich, dark ground where the seed is given time to root and grow unseen, unbothered, and unthreatened by the winds of the outer world. To speak too soon of your desire is to expose it before it has gathered strength. When you talk endlessly about your dreams, you may feel momentary excitement, but each word pulls a little of the energy outward, instead of letting it build within. People will add their opinions, their doubts, and their own limitations, and these can cloud the pure vision you once held. The seed becomes crowded with weeds not of your making, and before long, what should have grown with divine certainty is choked by unnecessary interference. Silence, therefore, is not mere restraint. It is a protective barrier. It is the invisible fence around the garden of your soul, keeping out the careless, the curious, and the critical. The seed needs time to draw nourishment from the unseen. It gathers life from your steady faith, from your gratitude, from the quiet certainty with which you carry yourself each day. Just as the earth works mysteriously beneath the surface, drawing moisture, warmth, and energy from the sun, so does the subconscious and the spirit bring forth your desire. This is why silence is golden, for silence gives the seed time to establish roots that will one day support the weight of the great tree. Without roots, even the strongest plant will topple at the first storm. Without silence, even the brightest vision can wither under the gaze of doubt. When you are silent about your seed, you are declaring trust in the unseen process. You no longer need to prove it, explain it, or defend it to anyone. You know that it is already growing, and this quiet knowing multiplies its strength. The seed in the soil does not need applause or commentary. It simply requires space and time. Likewise, your desire does not need to be broadcast to the world. It needs to be nurtured in the inner chamber of your mind, where no other influence can distort its shape. Many people scatter their seeds carelessly. They talk of their goals and visions before they are ready, sharing them with those who cannot understand. What happens then? The energy disperses, the clarity fades, and the vision no longer feels alive. The secret is not that the seed disappears, but that it becomes weakened by being tugged in too many directions. Your silence keeps the energy focused. It concentrates the light, the warmth, the nourishment all in one place, ensuring that the seed has the best chance to sprout strong and whole. Think of how nature hides her processes. The butterfly forms its wings inside a closed cocoon unseen by human eyes. The child grows in the secret darkness of the womb, shielded from interference. The diamond forms in the silent depths of the earth, under pressure and heat, hidden from the surface for countless years. Every great manifestation begins in silence, protected from premature exposure. If nature knows to conceal its treasures until they are fully formed, should you not do the same with the treasures of your own heart? Silence also preserves your energy. Words are powerful, but when scattered carelessly, they can drain you. To talk of your desires too soon is to give away part of your creative power. You may feel that by speaking you are affirming, but often you are simply dispersing. True affirmation happens inwardly, through thought, visualization, and belief. It is the steady heartbeat of conviction, not the restless chatter of explanation. Silence holds the energy close, compact, and potent, until it bursts forth into visible form. There is a strength in being still and knowing. Others may question, they may push, they may wonder why you remain quiet about your plans. But your silence is not emptiness, it is fullness contained. It is the wisdom of waiting. The tree does not rush to display its fruit in the first week of planting. The flower does not open its petals before the bud has gathered enough life. You too must allow your seed the dignity of time and the shield of secrecy. This is why silence protects the seed of your desire. It is the invisible guard, the unseen wall. The quiet strength that holds the dream safe until it has grown strong enough to be revealed without fear of withering. Just as a mother protects her child in the womb, so must you protect the seed in your soul. Silence is the womb of manifestation. It is the chamber where the seed draws life unseen, where it develops its form, where it grows in power until it is ready to emerge. And when it does, no word of doubt, no look of disbelief, no careless comment from another can undo it, for it has already taken root, already risen, already claimed its place in the visible world. Words carry vibration that can weaken or strengthen your vision. For every sound that leaves your lips is more than mere speech. It is a current of energy, a wave set forth upon the unseen, rippling out into the substance of life. The vibration of a word is like a tuning fork that calls forth either harmony or discord, depending on its tone, its intention, and the feeling behind it. To speak is to release power, and that power does not vanish. It creates, it attracts, and it shapes. When you realize that words are not idle but alive, you begin to understand why care must be taken with every utterance. Each word is a seed of vibration, and it either supports the vision you hold or it works against it. When you speak with faith, with conviction, with clarity, you fortify the vision within. The vibration of such words resonates with strength and draws to it similar currents. Like attracts like, and the word spoken in belief calls forth opportunities, people, and circumstances aligned with that belief. When you declare, "It is mine," with confidence, the universe echoes back in agreement. You feel stronger, your vision feels clearer, and the vibration gathers momentum in the unseen realm. Words of faith build walls of protection around your desire. They reinforce the structure and give shape to the unseen seed. But when you speak in doubt, when you allow complaint, worry, or fear to color your words, the vibration shifts. The vision that was once strong becomes diluted, the energy scatters. The subconscious hears every word and does not argue. It simply accepts and creates from it. To say, "I can't," or "It's too hard," is to impress weakness upon the soil of your mind, and the vibration weakens the roots of your vision. Even when spoken carelessly, words carry power, and careless words can undo days of careful cultivation. For this reason, the wise one watches the tongue and refuses to speak anything that contradicts the picture they are holding in silence. The vibration of words is not limited to sound. Words create atmosphere. Enter a room where people are speaking of failure, gossip, or fear, and you will feel the heaviness of their vibration. Enter another where gratitude, praise, and encouragement fill the air, and your spirit rises. The same is true of the words you speak to yourself in the silence of your mind. The inner dialogue is as potent as the outer speech. Every affirmation strengthens or weakens, every repeated phrase builds or destroys. The subconscious is impressionable, and the vibration of words, especially those repeated often, imprints deeply, becoming patterns of thought that shape your destiny. Words are like garments for your thoughts. A thought clothed in a strong, clear word takes form swiftly. A thought clothed in weak, doubtful word struggles to find expression. You may hold a vision within, but if your daily speech contradicts it, you are pulling in two directions. Imagine planting a seed and watering it daily. Then each evening pouring poison over it. The seed cannot thrive under such contradiction. Likewise, your vision cannot grow strong if your words weaken its vibration. Words spoken with emotion are especially powerful. When your heart burns with feeling, the vibration carries far. A word spoken in anger may wound deeply, lasting years in memory. A word spoken in love may heal, uplift, and inspire for a lifetime. So too with the words you attach to your vision. If you speak with passion and certainty, the vibration amplifies. It quickens the manifestation, it calls forth the unseen forces to support your aim. If you speak with hesitation, or worse, with ridicule of your own dream, the vibration falters and the seed weakens. This is why it is not enough to merely think positively. Your speech must be aligned as well. To say one thing and think another creates conflict in vibration. The strongest manifestation arises when thought, word, and feeling are in harmony. Then the vibration is pure, undivided, and irresistible. Your words become channels of power, carrying your vision outward like waves of sound that continue long after the moment of speaking. Consider how sound itself affects matter. A glass can shatter from a note held at the right pitch. Sand will form patterns when subjected to vibration. Water responds to tones, shaping itself according to frequency. If the material world is shaped by vibration, how much more is the subtle world of thought and spirit influenced by the words you speak? Every word is a vibration entering the invisible substance from which form is made. Speak of lack, and you align with lack. Speak of abundance, and you align with abundance. Speak of fear, and you call fear closer. Speak of faith, and faith multiplies. The vibration of words can also linger. A single discouraging remark from another may echo in the mind for years, if allowed. But so too can a word of encouragement. This is why guarding your environment and the words you permit yourself to hear and repeat is essential. Surround yourself with uplifting vibrations, with affirmations that strengthen, with speech that aligns with your vision. Do not lend your voice to conversations that weaken. Do not repeat phrases that contradict your good, and do not give energy to words that carry decay. Every culture has long understood the sacredness of the spoken word. Blessings and curses alike are carried by vibration. A blessing spoken with sincerity carries light, while a curse spoken in anger carries darkness. Both are words, but their vibration determines their effect. Likewise, the words you speak over your vision are blessings or curses. Each time you affirm its reality, you bless it. Each time you speak doubt, you curse it. The wise one blesses their own desire daily with words of faith, gratitude, and certainty. To master your words is to master the vibration you send into the universe. It is to align the unseen forces with your vision and to ensure that nothing spoken weakens its power. Every word carries vibration that either builds or destroys, strengthens or weakens, attracts or repels. To realize this is to understand why silence has its place and why speech must be chosen with care. Your vision depends not only on the seed within, but also on the vibration that surrounds it. And that vibration is shaped by the words you allow to pass through your lips and settle into your heart. Guard your secret from doubt, envy, and criticism, for nothing weakens the sacred seed of your desire more than the careless influence of others. The dream you carry within is like a flame sheltered in cupped hands. It burns brightly when protected, but a single gust of doubt or a careless word can cause it to flicker and fade. When you allow others to gaze upon your vision before it is strong enough to stand on its own, you expose it to forces that do not nurture, but undermine. Not everyone will see what you see, and not everyone has the faith to believe in what has not yet taken form. For this reason, the wise soul keeps the vision close, like a treasure hidden in the heart, shielded from those who cannot comprehend it. Doubt is the first thief to watch for. The doubter does not always speak with malice. Often they believe they are being practical, even helpful. They ask questions that sow uncertainty. How will you do it? What if it fails? What if it costs too much? Each question, though seemingly innocent, carries the vibration of hesitation, and hesitation is poison to the growing seed of faith. The seed does not need to know how, it only needs to grow. The one who allows doubt to enter begins to second, guess their vision, and what was once clear becomes clouded. Guarding your secret from doubt means refusing to let the questions of others take root in your consciousness. It means recognizing that what is possible for you may not be possible for them, and that their limitation has no authority over your destiny. Envy is a subtler enemy. When you share your vision too soon, some will smile, but beneath the smile lies resentment. They may not wish you harm outright, yet their unspoken jealousy carries a vibration that can interfere with your confidence. Envy seeks to diminish, to suggest that you are not worthy, that you are reaching too high, that your dream should not surpass the boundaries that others accept. If you are not vigilant, you may absorb this energy and begin to shrink your own vision to make others comfortable. Guarding your secret from envy means protecting yourself from the subtle pull of those who resent your light. It means remembering that your success does not diminish anyone else, and that envy belongs to those who harbor it, not to you. Criticism is perhaps the most blatant challenge. Some will openly dismiss your vision, telling you it cannot be done, that you are unwise, that you are wasting your time. Their words may be sharp, but they carry the power to wound only if you grant them entrance. The critic often speaks from their own failure, projecting their disappointments upon you. They could not achieve, so they insist you cannot either. To guard your secret is to recognize that criticism speaks more about the critic than about you. It is a reflection of their own fear, their own limitations, their own disbelief. By shielding your vision from such voices, you allow it to grow without being poisoned by someone else's story. Guarding your secret is not about mistrusting everyone. It is about discernment. You must know who is capable of holding your vision in the light of faith, and who is not. Few people are able to believe in the invisible with you. Fewer still can encourage without envy or criticize without diminishing. Therefore, it is often best to share only with the infinite, until your vision is strong enough to reveal itself in undeniable form. When it appears, when the seed blossoms and the fruit is visible, no doubt, envy or criticism can undo it. But until then, silence is your shield. Consider how a gardener protects a young plant. He places it under cover until it is hardy enough to withstand the elements. He guards it from animals who might trample it, from pests who might feed upon it, from careless feet that might crush it without noticing. Only when it has grown strong does he transplant it into open ground. So it must be with the visions of the soul. You guard them until they are rooted deeply enough to endure the winds of opinion. When you reveal too soon, you invite interference. Each word of doubt, each glance of envy, each criticism becomes like a shadow over your seed. Even if the seed continues to grow, it does so with less vigor. But when you guard it, you keep its energy pure, undiluted, and whole. The energy of your faith remains concentrated, and the seed grows quickly, free of external contamination. This is why secrecy in the early stages of a desire is not weakness but wisdom. Guarding your secret also protects you from the temptation to seek validation. Often, people share their vision because they crave encouragement. They want others to agree, to affirm, to believe with them. But the danger in seeking this validation is that when it is not given, the vision falters. If you are to bring forth the invisible into the visible, your faith must be self-sustaining, not dependent on the approval of others. By guarding your secret, you cultivate inner certainty, a conviction that does not rely on outside voices. Then, when you do share, you do so not to receive encouragement, but to declare what has already come to pass. Envy, doubt, and criticism cannot touch the vision you refuse to expose. Their power is only as great as the access you allow. Words spoken against your dream have no entrance if you never open the door. Silence is a wall that keeps out the destructive forces of the world. Faith is the lock that seals the gate. By choosing silence, by keeping your secret close, you choose to honor the sanctity of your desire. Guarding your secret is an act of reverence. It is to treat your vision not as something ordinary, to be tossed about in idle conversation, but as something holy, deserving of protection. It is to recognize that your desire is a creation in progress, not yet ready for the harshness of the outer world. The pearl forms inside the oyster, hidden from sight, layer by layer, until it emerges complete. Your vision too forms in the secrecy of silence, hidden from doubt, envy, and criticism, until it is ready to shine with undeniable beauty. Manifestation begins in the unseen before it becomes visible. For every form that appears in the outer world is but the shadow of what was once only an idea, a vibration, a spark within the invisible. The house you live in was first a thought in someone's mind. The book you read was once only a vision in the author's heart. The tree that stands tall was once hidden as a seed beneath the earth. Nothing appears suddenly without first existing in silence, in darkness, in the unseen realm where all things are born. To understand this is to understand the law of creation. The invisible always precedes the visible, and to work with the unseen is to move with the true power of manifestation. When you hold a vision, you are already engaging with the unseen. It is real, though others cannot see it. It exists, though it is not yet tangible. The unseen is the womb where desire is conceived and nurtured until the time of birth. The mistake many make is to look for evidence too soon, to demand proof in the outer world before the inner has had time to shape itself. Just as the child must grow for months before being born, so must the desire develop unseen before showing its face in the visible. Faith is the bridge between the two. Faith knows that because the unseen exists, the seen must follow. The unseen is not empty. It is filled with substance, with infinite intelligence, with the raw material of creation. Every thought, every image impressed upon the subconscious is working silently, drawing circumstances, aligning people, moving conditions in ways you cannot measure with the senses. You cannot always see how it is being prepared, but you can be certain that it is. To doubt the unseen because it is not yet visible is like doubting the seed because the sprout has not broken the surface. The wise one understands that the greater part of growth happens beneath the ground, invisible to the eye. Manifestation does not begin when you see results. It begins the moment you conceive the vision and impress it upon your inner world. That is the true act of creation. Everything that follows is merely the unfolding of what has already been set into motion. When you hold a desire, you are sculpting in the unseen. Every thought of faith adds detail, every word of gratitude strengthens it, every visualization gives it more clarity. It is being built behind the curtain, and when the curtain rises, what appears may seem sudden to the world, but you will know it has long been prepared. The unseen requires silence and protection, for it is delicate in the beginning. To share it too soon or expose it to doubt is to risk interfering with its growth. Just as a bud is easily damaged before it blooms, so too is the vision fragile in its early stages. It must be held close, nourished in quiet confidence, and believed in even when no evidence is yet visible. The gardener does not despair when days pass without seeing green. He knows the unseen work is happening in the soil. Likewise, you must trust that the unseen is always active, even when the outer world looks unchanged. The unseen operates according to laws that are constant and impartial. Just as gravity is unseen yet governs every movement on earth, so does the law of mind govern the process of manifestation. What you impress inwardly must eventually express outwardly. The visible world is the result of countless unseen impressions layered over time. If your inner world is filled with faith, clarity, and certainty, your outer world will mirror it. If it is filled with fear, confusion, and doubt, your outer world will reflect that instead. This is why mastery of the unseen is mastery of life. Imagination is the key instrument of the unseen. When you imagine, you are not creating fantasy. You are working in the workshop of reality. The picture you form in imagination is already real in the unseen, and if sustained, it will clothe itself in physical form. This is why daydreams without faith and consistency fade, while visions held with conviction eventually take shape. The unseen does not play with shadows. It molds substance. Your task is to hold the image steady, unwavering, until the unseen completes its work. Every great creation in history was first mocked because it existed only in the unseen. The inventor saw what others could not see. The artist envisioned what others could not imagine. The pioneer believed in lands others thought impossible. At first, the outer world showed no proof. There was nothing to point to, nothing to convince the doubters. But in the unseen, the creation was already alive. With persistence, the unseen became seen, and what was once laughed at became undeniable reality. The same law works in your life. That which you hold within, with steadfast faith, must eventually reveal itself outwardly, regardless of whether others believe. The unseen is not bound by time as the visible is. What seems to delay in the physical realm may already be complete in the invisible, waiting only for the right conditions to appear. You may believe nothing is happening, yet beneath the surface, threads are being woven, connections are being made, alignments are unfolding. Just as the sunrise is inevitable though the sky is still dark, the manifestation of the unseen is inevitable once the inner picture is fully formed and believed in. The darkness is not a denial of light. It is simply the stage before the dawn. Patience is the companion of those who work with the unseen. They understand that rushing the process is like pulling at a plant to make it grow faster. The unseen has its rhythm, its perfect timing. When you trust it, you release anxiety. You no longer need to watch the soil constantly. You know the growth is happening. You live in quiet expectancy, certain that what is yours is already on its way. You treat the unseen not as possibility but as certainty. And this certainty is what accelerates the appearance in the visible. The unseen is also influenced by emotion. A vision held with cold detachment may linger, but a vision charged with joy, gratitude, and excitement gathers speed. Feeling is the magnet that draws the unseen into the visible. To imagine without feeling is to sketch without color, but to imagine with emotion is to paint vividly, so that the unseen takes form more swiftly. The universe responds to vibration, and emotion is the strongest vibration of all. To live aligned with manifestation is to live with awareness of the unseen. You understand that the outer world is not the starting point, but the result. You do not measure success by what your eyes can see today, but by the clarity of the vision you hold within. The unseen is the cause. The visible is the effect. To focus on the cause is to hold power. To focus only on the effect is to chase shadows. When you work in the unseen, you are working at the level where change is real and lasting. Hold your counsel. Results speak louder than talk. For words may stir excitement for a moment, but deeds and manifestations are the true evidence of power. To speak continually of what you will do, what you intend, what you dream of, is to scatter energy into the air. People may nod, they may encourage, they may even doubt, but none of their reactions create substance. Talk alone produces no fruit. The tree is not known by the sound of rustling leaves, but by the sweetness of its harvest. So too is the soul known not by promises or speeches, but by the results that silently appear from steadfast faith and action. When you hold your counsel, you conserve your strength. Every word spoken about what has not yet manifested weakens the focus, allowing the energy to dissipate into idle curiosity and unnecessary explanation. But when you remain silent, you keep the energy concentrated, like water held in a reservoir, ready to power the wheel at the appointed time. The one who speaks too soon gives away their power before the form has had time to solidify, but the one who holds their counsel builds a reservoir of unseen force that eventually overflows into visible manifestation. Silence, then, is not emptiness, it is storage of power. Results have a voice of their own. They require no defense, no persuasion, no explanation. When the manifestation appears, it speaks on your behalf with authority. No critic can argue with the harvest once it is in your hand. No doubter can refute the house once it is built, the book once it is written, the dream once it is embodied. Talk invites debate, but results end all debate. Results shine with a clarity that words cannot match. To live in such a way that your results speak for you is to walk in quiet strength, knowing that nothing is proved by noise, but everything is proved by manifestation. Holding your counsel also protects you from those who would drain your vision with their questions, their envy, their criticism. The more you talk, the more opportunity you give for others to inject doubt or to weaken your conviction. But when you keep silent, they have nothing to grasp, nothing to resist, nothing to attack. They are left to wonder, and wonder is powerless compared to certainty. Your silence keeps your vision hidden until it is undeniable, and by the time they see it, it is already too late for their doubt to interfere. There is wisdom in moving quietly. The greatest changes often happen unseen, unnoticed, until they burst forth with undeniable force. Rivers carve valleys not with noise, but with steady persistence. Stars are born in the silence of space. A pearl grows in the hidden shell of an oyster, layer by layer, until one day it is revealed in beauty. Likewise, your results grow silently when you hold your counsel, gathering strength until they shine so brightly that all must acknowledge them. The one who constantly talks of what they will do often becomes trapped in their own words. They enjoy the admiration of others for their grand plans, but the admiration fades when no results appear. They must talk again, promising new things, always speaking, seldom delivering. Their energy is spent in appearances rather than substance. But the one who holds their counsel speaks little, works much, and reveals only what is already completed. Their words are few, but their results are abundant. They do not need to declare their power, for their results reveal it. To hold your counsel is to trust the process of manifestation more than the opinions of people. You no longer seek validation from others. You no longer need to convince anyone. You know that your work with the unseen is enough, and that in time, the results will show. This removes the weight of explanation from your shoulders. You live in quiet faith, and your results speak as your testimony. People may doubt your silence, but they cannot deny your results. There is a dignity in withholding speech until the moment of revelation. The sculptor does not invite the crowd to watch while he chips away at the marble, enduring mistakes and rough edges. He works in silence until the form is complete, and only then does he unveil the statue. The crowd gasps not at his words but at his results. So too must you work in silence, refining, shaping, strengthening your vision until it stands complete. Your unveiling will require no speech, for the results themselves will proclaim what you have accomplished. Holding your counsel strengthens your relationship with the infinite. Instead of scattering your desire in idle talk, you bring it inward, speaking only to the higher power that alone has the authority to bring it forth. Your prayer is your speech, your silence is your faith, and your results are your proof. You no longer depend on the approval of others, for you have placed your trust in the unseen law. You live by principle, not by chatter. And in living this way, your results carry a sacred authority that words could never equal. Results carry permanence that words do not. Words can be forgotten, dismissed, or twisted, but results stand as fact. They exist independently of opinion. A harvest in your hands is undeniable. A manifestation in your life is irrefutable. It requires no explanation because it is self-evident. The world cannot argue with results. It must acknowledge them. The quiet one who holds their counsel until results appear walks in greater power than the loud one who shouts without fruit. Holding your counsel teaches patience. It teaches you to trust timing, to allow the unseen to work without interference. You learn to resist the urge to announce, to prove, to seek validation. Instead, you let the results grow in silence, knowing that when they appear, they will speak for themselves. This patience strengthens you, for it teaches reliance on inner certainty rather than outward approval. You find peace in knowing that the results will arrive in their season, and until then, silence is your ally. There is also protection in results. Words may stir envy or provoke criticism, but results cannot be undone by these things. Once the manifestation is visible, no amount of doubt can erase it. It exists, it stands, it testifies. Holding your counsel allows your results to arrive fully formed, strong enough to withstand whatever opinions may come. When they appear, they do not need defense, for their very existence is defense enough. To live by this principle is to honor the power of action over talk, of manifestation over promise, of silence over noise. You become one who builds rather than boasts, one who produces rather than predicts. Your life becomes a testament to the truth that results carry their own voice, and that this voice is louder, clearer, and more lasting than all the talk in the world.
Before you close your eyes tonight, there's something you must know. Your bed is not just a place of rest. It is the most powerful manifestation tool you've been overlooking. While the world sleeps, unaware of its hidden power, you are about to discover how to command the universe while you dream. There is a way to activate an invisible energy flow where wealth finds you, opportunities are magnetized to you, and miracles begin to form without you lifting a finger. Tonight, I will reveal a secret blessing ritual so simple yet so potent, it will work for you in the silence of your sleep. Stay with me because once you understand this, your nights will no longer be for rest. They will be for creating the life you desire. The universe is waiting for your command. Beloved, you have been told all your life that a bed is simply a place to rest, a soft surface to lay your body upon after a long day's work. But the truth is far greater. Your bed is not just a piece of furniture, it is a sacred altar where your words are planted into the fertile soil of the invisible. You see, while your conscious mind drifts into dreams, your subconscious mind stays awake, listening, absorbing, and creating. It is in these quiet hours of the night where the universe is most receptive to your spoken word. The bed becomes a sacred space, a portal between your inner declarations and the outer manifestations that will appear in your life. Most people, unaware of this divine power, use their beds to rehearse worries. They lie down and review the debts they must pay, the problems they must solve, and the fears they carry into tomorrow. Without realizing it, they are performing a nightly ritual of lack, planting seeds of scarcity into the ethers. And life, ever obedient to vibration, returns those seeds in the form of continued struggle. But you, beloved, will do something different. You will turn your bed into a magnet for miracles. Let me explain this through an example. There was a man who had been battling with job insecurity. Every night, as he laid his head on his pillow, he would replay all his fears. What if I lose my job? What if I can't pay rent next month? Day after day, his worries grew and opportunities seemed to vanish. But then he learned the truth of this teaching. He began to bless his bed. Before sleeping, he would place his hand on his pillow and declare, "As I sleep, doors of opportunity are opening for me. The perfect job is already on its way. The universe is aligning resources in my favor." He didn't do this with frantic desperation. He did it with calm expectancy. Within a week, a position he never applied for was offered to him. It came through an unexpected connection. He didn't struggle for it. He aligned with it. His words, spoken into the altar of his bed, had already done the work. Another woman, overwhelmed with business failures, would cry herself to sleep, affirming her defeat without realizing. She, too, learned this principle. She changed her nightly ritual. Every night, she would touch her bedsheet and say, "This bed is blessed with the vibration of success. As I rest, new ideas are finding me. Abundance is flowing to me, silently but surely." One morning, she woke up with a sudden inspiration for a product idea. That idea turned into her most successful business. The wealth she was chasing began to chase her, all because she understood her bed was not just for sleep, but for sowing seeds of wealth. Beloved, understand this deeply. The physical act of sleeping is not the end of your day. It is the beginning of your next reality. What you declare before you sleep is written upon the ethers. The universe listens more attentively when the world is quiet. Your bed then becomes your personal altar. Just as ancient priests would approach altars to declare their sacred prayers, you approach your bed with your sacred word. But instead of begging or pleading, you will command. You will affirm, you will bless. When you lay your head down tonight, do not allow the mind to wander into lack. Instead, place your hand upon your bed and speak. This bed is the foundation of my abundance. As I sleep, I am magnetizing wealth, success, and divine ideas. The universe is working in my favor while I rest. Feel the shift in energy. The bed becomes more than fabric and wood. It becomes a field of creation, a sacred ground where your words plant seeds into the invisible soil of the universe. You are not required to understand how it will happen. You are only required to speak, to believe, and to bless. Your blessing is the instruction. The manifestation is the universe's response. Remember, beloved, you are not using effort in this ritual, you are using alignment. Sleep is a time of surrender, but surrender does not mean passivity. Surrender means releasing control of the how while boldly affirming the what. So tonight, let your last words be words of power. Your bed is your sacred altar. Your words are the offering, and life will always reflect the energy you have sown. Beloved, many people believe that when they go to bed at night, all of them goes to sleep, their thoughts, their worries, their energy. But this is a misunderstanding. While your body rests, your subconscious mind remains fully awake, listening, recording, and creating. Your subconscious mind is like a faithful servant. It does not argue, it does not analyze, it simply accepts what you give it, especially the words you feed it right before you sleep. It is at night, in the silence of sleep, where your last command becomes its entire focus. You may think you are done for the day, but your subconscious is just beginning its work. Let me explain through a powerful example that will open your eyes. There was a young woman who used to sleep worrying about her debts. Every night she would lie in bed thinking, I don't have enough. How will I pay the bills? I'm trapped. She didn't realize she was programming her subconscious with those exact instructions. Now remember, the subconscious does not judge whether the command is good or bad, positive or negative. It simply obeys. So while she slept, her subconscious mind continued to magnify those words, arranging situations, attracting people, and aligning circumstances to reflect, I don't have enough. Her reality followed her last command, but when she learned the power of this law, she changed everything. Instead of falling asleep with words of worry, she began to feed her subconscious a new command. Every night, before sleep, she would place her hand upon her heart and declare, as I sleep, money flows to me in ways I cannot yet see. I am a magnet for abundance. My subconscious is guiding me towards divine opportunities. She did this for 7 nights. On the 8th day, she received a phone call offering her a part-time consultancy project, something she hadn't even applied for. The offer came with a significant advance payment. It seemed like magic, but it wasn't magic. It was law. Her subconscious had obeyed her last command, even while she slept. Beloved, you must understand, the subconscious mind never sleeps. It takes your last spoken word and works tirelessly to bring it into form. You may think you're done for the day, but your subconscious is listening for your final instruction. Most people fall asleep reviewing their failures, rethinking their mistakes, or worrying about what might go wrong tomorrow. They are unknowingly planting weeds in the garden of their mind. And the subconscious, being so obedient, will grow those weeds into circumstances that mirror back the same failures, mistakes, and worries. But you, my dear, will do something different. You will give your subconscious mind a new assignment. Before you sleep, you will declare, "My subconscious is the architect of my abundance." As I rest, it is designing solutions, attracting wealth, and opening new doors for me. You do not need to understand the how. You only need to give the command. Imagine for a moment a factory worker who is awaiting instructions. If you tell him nothing is working, everything is a failure, he will go and build a failure. But if you say, "Prepare for success, align resources for my next opportunity," he will get to work immediately, even while you are unaware. Your subconscious mind is that factory. It does not sleep. It does not pause. It builds whatever you order. Another man, an entrepreneur burdened with constant business setbacks, discovered this law. He was exhausted from chasing solutions during the day and would fall asleep muttering, "Nothing ever works out." His subconscious, ever faithful, continued delivering the reality of nothing works out. When he learned the truth, he began a new practice. Before sleeping, he spoke this command into his subconscious: "As I sleep, the perfect clients are being drawn to my business. Solutions are flowing to me with ease. My subconscious is leading me to unexpected success." Within days, a client he had been pursuing for months finally responded. New business inquiries began to appear out of nowhere. He did not chase, he aligned. The subconscious had been working the entire time. It simply needed a new blueprint to follow. Beloved, tonight, before you close your eyes, I ask you, what blueprint are you giving your subconscious to build? Will you continue to feed it the old patterns of fear, or will you plant a new command that aligns with the abundance you desire? Say to yourself, "As I sleep, my subconscious is creating miracles on my behalf. I am divinely guided, richly blessed, and every word I speak becomes my reality." The subconscious mind does not sleep. It obeys your last word. Make sure that word is rich with power. Beloved, every thought you think, every word you speak is a seed, and the universe, being the ever-faithful gardener, nurtures those seeds into form. You do not get to choose whether you are planting. You are always planting, but you do get to choose what you are planting. Most people are unconsciously scattering seeds of worry into the garden of their lives. They believe worry is a sign of responsibility, that by rehearsing their fears they are somehow protecting themselves. But the law is very clear. Worry is not protection. Worry is permission. When you worry, you are granting permission for the very thing you fear to take root and grow. I want you to picture a farmer standing in his field. He holds in one hand a bag of rotten, decaying seeds labeled lack, and in the other hand, a bag of golden, vibrant seeds labeled prosperity. Every time he thinks, "What if I lose my income?" he drops a rotten seed into the earth. Every time he speaks, "Money is hard to come by," he plants another one. And the earth, without question, begins to grow exactly what he planted. But now imagine if that same farmer paused before every word he spoke, realizing his words were seeds, and said instead, "The riches of the universe are flowing to me now." Suddenly, he is planting seeds of gold, seeds that cannot help but sprout into visible prosperity. Beloved, blessing is the antidote to worry. Where worry plants weeds, blessing plants harvests of abundance. Let me share with you an example that will make this truth undeniable. A man struggling to make ends meet was known for his worrying. He would hold his paychecks and mutter, "It's never enough. How will this last?" And true to his words, it never was. The more he worried, the more unexpected expenses appeared. Broken appliances, surprise bills. His life was mirroring his internal garden of fear. One day he learned the law of blessing. He decided to try an experiment. Instead of dreading his next paycheck, he held it in his hands and said, "This money is blessed. Every dollar multiplies. I am grateful for the flow of wealth that never stops." He blessed his money, not out of superstition, but out of knowing that blessing plants seeds the universe must grow. Within weeks, he noticed his money stretching further. Discounts appeared, small gifts showed up. He even received a freelance project offer he hadn't expected. His income did not suddenly triple, but his experience of abundance shifted because he had planted a different crop. Worry had been replaced with blessing, and the harvest had no choice but to reflect it. You see, beloved, blessing is a spiritual declaration that aligns you with the divine flow. When you bless your life, your money, your circumstances, you are declaring that they are under the law of good. You are commanding them to multiply, to flourish, to thrive. There was also a shop owner who used to bless her empty shop. Every morning, despite low sales, she would open the door, stand in the middle, and say, "This shop is blessed with divine prosperity. Customers are drawn here by divine right. Every item is sold with joy." At first, it felt silly. There were no customers, but she persisted, planting seeds of blessing daily. Slowly, foot traffic increased. People commented that her shop felt so positive, so welcoming. What had changed? Not the shop, not the products, only the seeds she had been planting with her words. Beloved, I want you to understand deeply. Worry is a habit of focusing on what you don't want. Blessing is the discipline of focusing on what you choose to create. One feeds fear, the other feeds faith. You might ask, "But Florence, how can I bless something that feels so lacking?" And I say to you, bless it because it feels lacking. That is the very moment it needs your spoken word of increase. You are not describing what is, you are prescribing what must be. Tonight, when you lie in bed, do not rehearse your worries. Instead, place your hand on your heart and declare, "I bless my life. I bless my finances. I bless my home. I bless my ideas. Everything I bless multiplies." Let this become your nightly ritual. Let blessing replace worry, for the universe is not moved by how much you stress. It is moved by how much you bless. Every word you speak is a seed. Worry will grow weeds. Blessing will grow abundance. You get to choose your harvest, beloved. Beloved, now that you understand how every word you speak is a seed, and how worry plants weeds while blessing plants prosperity, you must now take the next step. You must declare with power, not with hesitation, not with doubt, but with the absolute authority of one who knows that the universe must obey. There is a divine principle that is often overlooked by those who strive, struggle, and overwork. Abundance is not created by effort. It is created by alignment, and alignment begins with your declaration. Every night before you sleep, the universe leans in to hear your final word. It is not interested in your struggles. It is waiting for your command. The declaration you speak with faith becomes the blueprint that your subconscious follows, even as you rest. When you say, "As I sleep, divine abundance flows to me," you are not making a wish. You are issuing a spiritual decree. You are telling the unseen forces that wealth, opportunities, and resources must align in your favor, even while you dream. This declaration is not empty repetition. It is an instruction given to the creative substance of the universe. And beloved, the substance does not argue, it responds. Let me give you a simple example that will refresh this understanding. There was a young man who worked tirelessly, often staying up late worrying about his small business. Every night, he would go to bed mentally listing all the things that were going wrong: poor sales, pending bills, unanswered emails. Despite his effort, his situation never improved. But then, he decided to change his nightly ritual. Instead of carrying his burdens into sleep, he chose to plant a different seed. Every night, as he lay in bed, he placed his hand on his heart and declared with power, "As I sleep, divine abundance flows to me. My business is expanding in ways I cannot yet see. Prosperity is working behind the scenes on my behalf." He spoke it not once, but with conviction, as if it were already done. Within a few days, a former client reached out unexpectedly with a large order. Another opportunity came through a simple referral. He did not chase these results. They were drawn to him by the vibration he had set in motion. Beloved, your declaration is the key that opens doors you cannot see with your physical eyes. When you speak abundance into the ethers, you activate the law of return. What you send out must come back. But there's a vital detail you must remember. It is not enough to whisper your desires. You must declare them with power. The universe does not respond to begging. It responds to boldness rooted in faith. When you declare, "As I sleep, divine abundance flows to me," you are not asking if it's possible. You are announcing that it is inevitable. You are shifting your vibration from seeker to receiver, from effort to alignment. This nightly declaration becomes the bridge between your waking thoughts and your sleeping creation. Your conscious mind may rest, but your subconscious takes the instruction and begins orchestrating the details. You may not see immediate results the very next morning, but understand this: the vibration has already been set in motion. The channels are opening, the resources are aligning, the opportunities are circling their way back to you. Your role is not to figure out how. Your role is to declare with unwavering faith that it is already happening. And beloved, here's a simple refresher to keep this principle alive in your heart. Every night before you sleep, visualize a gentle river of golden light flowing towards you. This is divine abundance. With each breath, this river brings new ideas, unexpected opportunities, and financial blessings into your life. Speak into this vision and declare, "I am open, I am aligned. As I sleep, divine abundance flows to me effortlessly." Feel it, believe it, declare it with the authority of one who knows the truth. This declaration prepares you for the next truth you must embrace. Life responds not to how long you wait, but to how boldly you command. In the next step of your journey, you will learn how to remove the final block, how to stop neutralizing your declarations by mixing them with doubt. But tonight, your focus is singular. Speak your abundance into existence. Speak it as if it already is. For as you sleep, invisible forces are already working in your favor. Beloved, I have taught you that your words are seeds, but now you must understand the force that makes those seeds grow. Expectation. Expectation is not a passive hope. It is not sitting quietly, wishing something good might happen. No, expectation is a magnetic force. It charges your words with power and sends a vibration into the ethers that commands results to find you. You see, many people speak affirmations, but they neutralize them with doubt. They say, I am prosperous, but within their hearts they quietly whisper, I hope this works. This is where most people fail, not because their words lack power, but because their expectations are filled with hesitation. Beloved, I am here to awaken you to a higher truth. The universe responds to the boldness of your expectation, not the desperation of your need. You must expect your words to manifest as surely as you expect the sun to rise. Let me tell you about a woman who learned this principle and how her aggressive expectation brought wealth into her life without struggle. She was an ordinary woman with an extraordinary debt. She had no wealthy family, no influential connections, but what she had was a decision. She decided to expect her prosperity as a divine right. Every night, she would stand before her bed, place her hands on the mattress, and declare, this bed is a magnet for divine riches. As I sleep, I expect money, ideas, and opportunities to come to me with ease. She didn't say it as a wish. She said it as a command. She spoke as if the wealth was already circling her bed, waiting for her permission to enter. Now here's where most people give up. They say their affirmations and then wait anxiously, watching the clock, questioning, when will it happen, but not her. She would go to sleep with a smile, knowing that the invisible had already begun to move. Within 2 weeks, a friend she hadn't spoken to in years called her about a collaborative project. That project not only cleared her debts, but opened a consistent stream of income. She did not chase this result. She did not beg for it. She expected it. Beloved, expectation is the electric current that charges your words. Without it, affirmations are like arrows without a target. But when you speak and expect, you are aligning with the universal law that cannot fail. When you declare, as I sleep, divine abundance flows to me, do you feel the certainty of that statement? Or do you speak it while secretly worrying about how it will happen? You must release the how. The how belongs to the divine. Your role is the what. Your role is to expect. Expectation is not arrogance. It is alignment. It is understanding that you are not making demands. You are claiming what is already yours by divine right. Now let me give you a powerful refresher to imprint this truth upon your heart. Every night, as you prepare to sleep, I want you to visualize your bed glowing with a soft golden light. This light represents the wealth, ideas, and miracles that are being magnetized to you. As you lay down, speak with authority. I expect divine surprises. I expect abundance to find me as I rest. The universe is arranging every detail in my favor. Feel the difference when you say it with expectation. Your body relaxes, but your vibration intensifies. You are no longer hoping, you are receiving. The energy shifts from wishing to knowing. And in that moment, the law of return is activated. Beloved, the universe is not asking for your effort. It is asking for your certainty. Your expectation is the proof of your belief. When you expect with confidence, the doors of manifestation cannot remain closed. From this night forward, I want you to replace every doubtful thought with the fire of expectation. If a whisper of worry tries to return, override it with this declaration. I expect only good. I expect wealth. I expect miracles. Expectation is your magnetic charge. It is the switch that turns your spoken word into visible reality. Speak with power. Expect with certainty. And watch how life must obey. Beloved, the world has taught you a dangerous lie, that in order to be wealthy you must chase opportunities, chase money, chase success. But chasing is rooted in fear. It whispers to your subconscious that wealth is running away from you, that you are somehow separate from the riches you desire. I am here to tell you a truth that will release you from this endless pursuit. You are not meant to chase wealth. You are meant to receive it. The universe does not respond to frantic effort. It responds to aligned vibration. When you sleep, your conscious mind steps aside, and the subconscious, the true architect of your life, goes to work, molding your world according to the last command you gave it. You are not working while you sleep, but your vibration is. Your words are. Your expectancy is. Let me give you an example that will open your heart to this truth. There was a woman who believed, as most do, that success required constant hustle. She worked long hours, juggling multiple jobs, yet financial freedom remained out of reach. Every night, she would collapse into bed exhausted, mentally chasing more ways to make it happen. But one evening, after hearing this very principle, she changed her approach. She realized that her bed was not just a place of recovery, it was a receiving station. That night, she laid her head on the pillow and declared, "I am no longer a chaser of wealth, I am a receiver. As I sleep, opportunities, ideas, and financial blessings are being magnetized to me." She visualized herself resting while streams of golden light, symbolizing money and success, flowed gently towards her. She didn't strive. She didn't worry. She simply received. Within days, an old acquaintance reached out with a collaboration proposal. This led to a passive income stream she had not anticipated. The work was minimal, but the return was significant. She was no longer chasing wealth. It was finding her beloved. This is not coincidence. This is law. When you declare with authority and allow yourself to receive, the universe responds with precision. You see, the act of chasing vibrates with lack. It affirms that you are separate from the good you desire. But receiving is an act of alignment. It's the vibration of knowing that what you seek is already seeking you. Every night, as you prepare to sleep, you have a choice to fall into bed with the energy of chasing, or to enter sleep as a receiver of divine abundance. When you lie down tonight, place your hand upon your heart and declare, "I am in receiving mode. My wealth is not somewhere out there. It is flowing to me now, in expected and unexpected ways." Feel the shift in your energy. You are no longer a pursuer. You are a magnet. And here's a simple refresher to anchor this into your subconscious. Visualize yourself sleeping while golden threads of prosperity weave themselves into your life. You are not running after success. You are resting in its embrace. Beloved, the richest ideas often come in dreams, not in boardrooms. The most divine opportunities flow to those who are aligned, not those who are frantic. Your work is not in the chase, it is in the command. Understand this. Your vibration never sleeps. While your body rests, your energetic field continues to attract, align, and orchestrate your desires into form. The universe does not require your exhaustion. It requires your alignment. From this night forward, do not lie in bed chasing how things will happen. Instead, declare boldly, "I am a receiver of divine abundance. As I sleep, wealth flows to me effortlessly. I do not chase, I attract." You will find that the harder you chase, the further wealth seems to run. But the moment you stand still, aligned in the vibration of receiving, wealth comes to greet you. Beloved, your bed is not a finish line. It is a starting point of miracles. You are not asleep to the universe. You are awake in spirit, receiving all that is yours by divine right. Remember this truth: while you sleep, the The invisible is working. You are not chasing wealth. You are receiving it. Beloved, every night when the world grows quiet, when the noise fades and the outer world seems to sleep, the invisible world awakens, ready to receive your word. It is in these sacred moments, when you are free from the distractions of the day, that you are closest to the creative forces that mold your reality. Many people treat night as a time of escape. They fall into bed, defeated, carrying the weight of their worries, thinking tomorrow will somehow be different. But I am here to tell you a secret. Tomorrow is created by the words you speak tonight. Every night is not an ending. It is a divine opportunity to align yourself with the flow of abundance. You may think you are resting, but the universe is listening. The ethers are tuned into your vibration. Your subconscious mind is standing alert, awaiting your final instruction. When you lie in bed, you are standing at the threshold of manifestation. The words you speak before sleep do not disappear into the silence. No, beloved, they become blueprints. They are taken up by the unseen forces that work through the night, shaping your reality according to the vibration you have spoken. Let me share a simple yet powerful example to make this truth alive in your heart. A young artist, struggling to gain recognition, used to fall asleep worrying about her future. "No one sees my work. I don't know how to succeed," she would mutter into her pillow, and life, faithful to her words, continued to mirror back obscurity. But one night she decided to change the script. She began a new ritual. Before sleep, she would close her eyes and speak into the darkness. "I am aligned with divine opportunities. My art is a magnet for success. As I rest, my work is reaching those who need it most." She didn't worry about the how. She declared her truth and released it into the ethers. Within days, a gallery owner discovered her portfolio through a friend's social media post. That introduction became the turning point of her career. Did she chase this outcome? No, she aligned. She declared, she spoke, and the universe obeyed. Beloved, you must realize that every night is an invitation to become the author of your life. You are not at the mercy of circumstances. You are the commander of substance. When you lie in bed tonight, do not allow your mind to replay the failures of the day. Do not carry the burdens of lack into the silence. Instead, speak with intention. Speak with authority. Declare into the ethers the reality you choose to experience. Say aloud, "I am now aligned with divine abundance. As I sleep, the universe is arranging every detail for my success. Wealth, health, and happiness are flowing to me now." These words are not idle wishes. They are commands issued from a soul that knows its authority. And the universe, bound by spiritual law, must respond. But there is a key, beloved. You must speak with belief. Words without belief are like seeds thrown onto stone, but words spoken with faith are planted into fertile ground, destined to grow. Every night the ethers refresh. The vibrations you carry from the day can be reset. This is your moment of power. You may not control what happened hours ago, but you absolutely control the vibration you will send into your future. Your words are the steering wheel of your destiny. Each night, before you surrender to sleep, you hold in your mouth the power to direct the course of your life. You are never helpless. You are never without choice. You are never too late. From this moment forward, I want you to see every night as a divine appointment. It is your meeting with the unseen forces that create worlds. When you speak into the ethers, you are writing tomorrow's script. Do not waste this sacred time with worry. Do not rehearse defeat. Instead, bless your life with every word. Speak into the silence, and the silence will echo back your desires. Beloved, every night is a doorway, and your word is the key. Open it with faith. Declare your abundance. Align with the truth that wealth is already flowing to you. Beloved, today you have been given a truth that will set you free, not in some distant future, but tonight, the moment you choose to act. You now understand that your bed is not just for rest. It is a spiritual altar where your words take root. Every time you lay down, you are not merely closing your eyes, you are opening a portal to abundance. You have learned that the subconscious mind never sleeps. While you rest, it listens for your final command and molds your reality accordingly. It does not judge, it obeys. The last word you speak becomes the foundation of your next experience. You now know that worry plants seeds of lack, but blessing plants seeds of prosperity. Every thought, every declaration is a seed. The question is no longer, am I planting? The question is, what am I choosing to grow? You have been reminded that your declaration is not a wish, it is a command. When you boldly declare, as I sleep, divine abundance flows to me, you are not asking if it might happen. You are setting the vibration that it must. You've seen how expectation is the magnetic charge behind your words. It is not enough to speak. You must expect the universe to respond. The energy of knowing pulls miracles into your field. You've realized that you are not chasing wealth. You are not a beggar running after blessings. You are a receiver. You are a magnet. While you sleep, the invisible forces are working in your favor, orchestrating outcomes beyond your comprehension. And finally, you have awakened to this. Every night is a divine opportunity to align with abundance through your spoken word. You do not need to wait for life to change. You need to speak life into the ethers tonight. You hold the pen. You are the author. The greatest lesson I can give you, beloved, is this. Life is not responding to your effort. It is responding to your vibration. And your vibration is crafted by the words you dare to declare when no one is watching. Every night, you are at a crossroads. You can carry your worries into sleep, or you can plant declarations of abundance that will return to you multiplied. The universe is not moved by how much you try. It is moved by how much you believe. So I ask you, before you sleep tonight, take a moment, place your hand on your heart, and declare, I am aligned with divine abundance. As I sleep, I am receiving wealth, success, and miracles. My word is law. My life must obey. And now, beloved, if these words have stirred something within you, if you felt this truth resonate in your heart, I invite you to take inspired action in this moment. Like this video as a declaration of your alignment with abundance. Share this message with those who are ready to stop chasing and start receiving. And leave a comment below. Tell me, what words are you choosing to plant into your life tonight? Your support is not just for me. It is a ripple that multiplies the vibration of prosperity in your own life. As you uplift this message, you uplift yourself. And beloved, this is not the end. In the next videos, we will go even deeper. Together, we will uncover more divine secrets, more powerful affirmations, and more ways to command life to work in your favor. You are not here by chance. You are here because your soul is ready to stop living by effort and start living by divine alignment. The words you speak tonight will be the reality you live tomorrow. Speak wisely, declare boldly, and watch as life rearranges itself to deliver your desires.